Tonight we stand beneath a sky so clear that every star seems close enough to touch. The air is cool upon your skin. Far below, the dark waters of the Aegean Sea whisper against distant shores. Olive groves stretch across sleeping hills. Sacred fires flicker inside quiet temples. Somewhere in the darkness, an owl calls once, then falls silent. Above all of it rises Olympus, not merely a mountain, a boundary, a place where earth and heaven seem to meet. Tonight, however, something unusual stirs among the immortal halls. The gods are restless. A strange tension moves through the palace of Zeus like distant thunder before a storm. Golden torches burn along marble corridors. Their light dances across polished stone, yet no music fills the air. No laughter echoes through the banquet halls. Even the immortals seem uncertain, as though they sense that something impossible is approaching. So before we continue tonight's journey, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy exploring these ancient stories together. Then allow yourself to settle comfortably, let your breathing slow, and listen, because tonight you are about to witness one of the strangest births in all mythology. A birth that begins not with a cradle, but with a headache. Deep inside the palace of Olympus, Zeus sits alone. The king of the gods is rarely troubled. He commands storms. He governs heaven. His voice can shake mountains. Yet tonight he presses both hands against his temples. Pain pulses through his head. At first it is merely discomfort. Then it becomes agony. The torches around him flicker. Clouds gather beyond the palace walls. Thunder rolls across distant peaks. The pain grows worse. No remedy helps. No divine power eases the suffering. The ruler of the cosmos, feared by gods and mortals alike, finds himself powerless before an invisible force. Ancient storytellers imagined the scene in many different ways. Some claimed the heavens themselves trembled. Others said rivers stopped flowing. Another tradition survives in which animals became strangely silent, sensing that fate was preparing something extraordinary. No one could agree exactly what happened, yet all traditions share one detail. Something was struggling to emerge, something hidden, something destined. Zeus rises from his throne. His footsteps echo through vast chambers of marble and gold. The pain has become unbearable. He summons the other gods. They arrive quickly. You watch them gather beneath towering columns. Hera arrives first, then Apollo, then Artemis, then countless others. Concern spreads among the immortals. For if Zeus suffers, what might happen to the world itself? Thunder continues rumbling beyond Olympus. Clouds swirl above the mountain. The sky darkens. At last Zeus speaks. His voice is strained. His words are few. He commands that the divine smith be summoned. The blacksmith god answers. In some traditions, it is Hephaestus. In others, an older craftsman appears. The details differ. The mystery remains. But every version arrives at the same astonishing moment. The suffering king lowers his head. The craftsman raises a mighty axe. The gathered gods stare in silence. Then comes the strike. A single blow, a flash brighter than lightning, a sound like the breaking of the sky. And from the head of Zeus emerges a new figure. Not an infant, not a helpless child. A goddess, fully grown, fully armed, radiant. The bronze of her armor shines like sunrise upon calm water. A spear glitters in her hand. A helmet rests upon her brow. Her eyes are clear and watchful, wise, ancient, and yet newly born. The moment her feet touch the floor of Olympus, the heavens erupt. Some traditions describe trumpets sounding across the sky. Others tell of clouds parting instantly. Some ancient poets imagined the earth trembling beneath the force of her arrival. Yet perhaps the most remarkable detail is not her appearance. It is her expression. She does not seem confused. She does not seem frightened. She does not cry. Instead, she surveys the world calmly, as though she already understands it, as though she has been listening for a very long time. The gods stare in amazement. Even Zeus forgets his pain, for standing before him is a being unlike any that has ever existed. Athena, the goddess who entered existence, carrying wisdom and warfare together. A strange combination, perhaps even a contradiction. Most gods represent one thing clearly: the sea, the sun, the hunt, the harvest. Athena is different. She embodies intelligence and battle, thought and action, strategy and courage, the mind and the spear. Even tonight, Thousands of years later, her nature remains difficult to define completely. That uncertainty forms part of her mystery. Who exactly is Athena? A warrior, a scholar, a protector, a ruler, a creator? Ancient worshippers often answered with a simple word. Yes, she was all of these things at once. And perhaps that complexity explains why she became one of the most beloved deities in the Greek world. Yet for now, standing beside the newly born goddess, none of that future is visible. Only possibilities exist. Olympus watches in silence. The stars above seem brighter. The mountain wind drifts through open halls. Athena takes her first steps. Each movement appears deliberate, measured, purposeful. Already she seems different from the other gods, not driven by impulse, not swept away by emotion. Something inside her seeks understanding, perhaps even wisdom itself. Yet wisdom often carries a hidden burden. To see clearly is not always comfortable. To understand consequences can create loneliness. To recognize truths others ignore can separate one from the crowd. Athena's future will reveal all of these challenges. But destiny is patient. It unfolds slowly, like an olive tree growing from a tiny seed. Far below Olympus, mortals sleep peacefully in villages beside the sea. They know nothing of what has occurred. They do not realize that a goddess has entered the world. They cannot yet know that she will guide heroes, shape cities, influence wars, inspire philosophers, and become one of the enduring symbols of wisdom itself. For now, only the gods witness the beginning. The torches continue burning. The storm fades. The sky gradually clears. Athena stands beneath the stars, newly born, yet somehow ancient, a mystery wrapped within a miracle. And hidden within that miracle lies another question, a question that even the king of the gods cannot escape. Why was Athena born this way? Why did wisdom emerge from pain? Why did destiny choose such a strange path? The answer lies in events that began long before her birth, in secrets hidden within prophecy, in fears buried deep inside the heart of Zeus himself. And far beyond the quiet halls of Olympus, that forgotten story is already waiting to be told. The storm has passed. Olympus rests beneath a canopy of silver stars. The torches burn lower now. Their flames sway gently in the mountain wind. Somewhere beyond the palace walls, clouds drift across the moon. The newborn goddess Athena stands among the immortals, calm and watchful, already seeming older than her first moments should allow. Yet even as the gods marvel at her arrival, another question lingers in the cool night air. Why? Why did Zeus suffer before her birth? Why did Athena emerge from his head rather than from a mother's arms? And perhaps most importantly, what secret had Zeus been trying to hide? To find the answer, you must journey backward. Backward beyond Athena's birth. Backward beyond the reign of Olympus. Backward into a time when even Zeus feared destiny. For there is one truth that appears again and again throughout Greek mythology. No matter how powerful a god becomes, fate always remains larger. The story begins with a woman, or perhaps something more than a woman. Her name is Metis. In ancient Greek tradition, Metis represents wisdom itself, not the wisdom of libraries, not the wisdom of age, but the wisdom of intuition, the wisdom that recognizes danger before it appears, the wisdom that understands people, consequences, and hidden motives. Many ancient poets described her as one of the most intelligent beings in existence. Some traditions even suggest she was wiser than Zeus himself. You find her standing beside the young ruler of Olympus during the early years of his reign. The great war against the Titans has ended. The old order has fallen. The Olympian gods now govern the cosmos. Yet victory has not brought peace. Because Zeus remembers something. His own father Cronus once ruled the universe. Cronus believed himself secure, invincible, eternal. Then prophecy arrived. A warning whispered through destiny itself. One day a child would overthrow him. Fear consumed the Titan king. He swallowed his children, one after another. Yet fate could not be stopped. Zeus survived, and eventually fulfilled the prophecy. The son defeated the father. The cycle completed itself. Now Zeus sits upon the throne, and a troubling thought begins to grow. If it happened once, could it happen again? The question follows him everywhere, across mountain peaks, through golden halls, into sleepless nights. Even kings of the gods cannot escape memory, especially when memory carries a warning. It is during this uncertain time that Zeus grows close to Metis. Their relationship appears peaceful, respectful, perhaps even affectionate. Ancient traditions often describe them as companions as much as lovers. Metis advises him, guides him, helps him navigate the responsibilities of power. For a while, everything seems harmonious. Then another prophecy appears, as prophecies often do, unexpected, unwelcome, dangerous. The warning reaches Olympus through uncertain sources. Some stories attribute it to Gaia, the ancient Earth Mother. Others suggest it came from mysterious forces older than the gods themselves. The details vary. The message does not. Metis will bear 2 children. The first will be a daughter, wise beyond imagination, powerful beyond expectation. The second will be a son, and that son will one day overthrow Zeus. The prophecy strikes like lightning. Suddenly, the old fear returns. You can almost feel it. The same fear that once haunted Cronus. The same fear that has destroyed rulers throughout mythological history. Fear of replacement. Fear of losing control. Fear of the future. Zeus knows exactly how such prophecies end. After all, he himself is living proof. For a time, he struggles with the dilemma. Ancient storytellers rarely describe this period in detail, yet it is easy to imagine the burden. If he ignores the prophecy, destiny may unfold. If he acts against it, he risks becoming like his father. Perhaps he hopes another solution exists. Perhaps he searches for some hidden path. But eventually fear wins. One evening, beneath a sky darkened by approaching rain, Zeus invites Metis to sit beside him. The air smells of pine trees and distant storms. The conversation appears calm. Nothing seems unusual. Then the king of the gods acts. Using cunning rather than force, he persuades Metis to change her form. She possesses the ability to transform herself into animals, into water, into countless shapes. The moment she becomes small enough, Zeus swallows her, just as Cronus once swallowed his children. History repeats itself, though not exactly, and therein lies the tragedy. You might expect the story to end here. Many rulers throughout mythology attempt to escape prophecy through drastic actions. Rarely do they succeed. Zeus is no exception, because Metis does not truly disappear. Ancient traditions describe her continuing existence inside him, alive, thinking, advising. Some stories even suggest she continues crafting armor for her unborn child within Zeus himself. Imagine that strange image. Deep within the king of the gods exists a hidden voice, a hidden intelligence, a hidden future, waiting, growing, becoming. The symbolism fascinated ancient audiences. Some researchers believe the myth reflects the idea that wisdom cannot be destroyed. Others suggest it represents the union of power and intelligence. Another interpretation survives as well. Perhaps Zeus attempted to possess wisdom completely, to make it part of himself. Yet wisdom resists ownership. It develops its own identity, its own purpose, its own destiny. And so somebody passes months, years, perhaps longer. The exact duration remains unclear. Then subtle signs begin appearing. Athena is still unborn, yet omens gather around Olympus. Owls appear unexpectedly. Sacred fires burn with unusual brightness. Priests in distant shrines report strange dreams. Some see a woman clothed in bronze. Others hear a voice offering guidance. A few witness olive trees flourishing where none had grown before. No one fully understands these signs. Not yet, but destiny is stirring. And destiny often announces itself quietly before revealing its full power. Inside Zeus, the hidden child continues developing. The prophecy moves forward, unstoppable. The irony becomes impossible to ignore. By swallowing Metis, Zeus hoped to prevent fate. Instead, he brought fate closer than ever, closer than his throne, closer than his palace, closer than his own heartbeat. The future now lives within him, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the right pain, waiting for the thunderclap that will introduce Athena to the world. And perhaps the greatest mystery remains unanswered. Did Zeus truly act from fear alone, or did some part of him understand that Athena needed this unusual birth, that wisdom itself required an extraordinary beginning? Ancient traditions never provide a final answer. They leave the question open, floating like moonlight upon dark water. What they do reveal is this: Athena was shaped by prophecy long before she took her first breath. She inherited wisdom from Metis, power from Zeus, and a destiny touched by both fear and hope. Soon she will begin discovering what those gifts truly mean. But elsewhere upon Olympus, another sign has already appeared. A dream. a strange dream that hints at the path awaiting the young goddess, and its meaning will not become clear for many years. Morning arrives slowly upon Olympus. Golden light spills across marble terraces. Mist drifts through the mountain valleys below. The peaks glow softly beneath the rising sun. From distant forests comes the scent of pine and wild herbs carried upward by the breeze. The storm that accompanied Athena's birth has long vanished. Only silence remains, a peaceful silence, the kind that often follows extraordinary events. You walk beside the young goddess as she stands at the edge of Olympus, gazing across the world for the very first time. Far below, rivers twist through green valleys. Harbour towns cling to rocky coastlines. Tiny ships move across the glittering sea. Human lives unfold everywhere. Countless stories, countless hopes, countless fears. Athena watches them carefully. Even now she seems different from the other gods. Most immortals are fascinated by themselves. Athena is fascinated by others. This curiosity becomes one of the defining features of her life. She wants to understand, not merely observe, not merely rule. Understand. The distinction matters, and it will shape everything that follows. The halls of Olympus soon become her classroom, though classroom is perhaps too simple a word. The palace of the gods contains wonders beyond mortal imagination. Golden ceilings reflect starlight even during daylight hours. Columns seem carved from moonlight itself. Sacred fountains sing softly as water flows across polished stone. Every chamber contains stories older than kingdoms. Here Athena begins learning the language of immortality, not spoken language, something deeper, the language of power, the language of responsibility, the language of consequence. You watch as she observes her fellow gods. Each reveals a different lesson. Each becomes a mirror reflecting part of existence. From Apollo, she learns about knowledge, music, and prophecy. From Artemis, she learns independence and self-discipline. From Demeter, she learns that life depends upon care as much as strength. Even from Hera, she learns important truths: pride, loyalty, the complexities of power. Olympus contains no shortage of teachers, yet Athena rarely accepts lessons at face value. She questions, reflects, studies. If another god boasts, she asks why. If another god becomes angry, she examines the cause. If another god succeeds, she considers the price. This habit slowly earns both admiration and caution, for wisdom can be unsettling, especially among those who prefer certainty. At night, she often walks alone. The moon hangs above Olympus like a silver lantern. Cool air moves through cypress groves. Owls perch silently upon ancient branches. Their bright eyes follow her movements. Over time, these birds become closely associated with Athena. Ancient Greeks later viewed the owl as a symbol of wisdom, a creature capable of seeing through darkness, a creature that notices what others overlook. The symbolism feels fitting. Athena herself possesses a similar gift. She sees patterns, connections, possibilities. One evening, as sacred fires burn quietly throughout Olympus, she approaches Zeus. The king of the gods sits upon his throne, overlooking the world below. For a while, neither speaks. The silence feels comfortable, familiar. Athena studies her father carefully. There is affection between them, respect as well. Yet something else exists. A question, a mystery neither fully understands. After all, Athena's birth remains unlike any other. She emerged from Zeus alone, or so it appears. Yet traces of Metis remain. Sometimes Zeus grows thoughtful when Athena asks certain questions. Sometimes his gaze drifts toward distant horizons, as though remembering something or someone. Athena senses these moments. She cannot yet explain them, but she notices. Wisdom often begins with observation, long before it becomes understanding. As the years pass, stories about Athena spread throughout Olympus. The goddess who listens before speaking, the goddess who thinks before acting, the goddess who seeks solutions instead of conflict. These qualities distinguish her from many immortals, particularly one, Ares, the god of war. Their contrast becomes immediately obvious. Ares loves battle itself, the clash of shields, the roar of armies, the chaos of combat. Athena views war differently. She studies strategy, planning, preparation, discipline. Where Ares sees glory, Athena sees consequences. Where Ares sees victory, Athena sees responsibility. The difference will shape their relationship forever. Ancient artists often portrayed them together for precisely this reason, not because they were similar, because they represented opposite approaches to power. Even now, standing beneath moonlit skies, Athena begins realizing that intelligence alone is not enough. Wisdom requires action. Thought must eventually become choice, and every choice creates consequences. This lesson arrives through a dream, or perhaps a vision. Ancient traditions disagree. One night, Athena sleeps beneath a ceiling painted with constellations. The palace is quiet. Only distant winds move across Olympus. Then the dream begins. She finds herself walking through an endless olive grove. Silver leaves shimmer beneath starlight. No sound disturbs the darkness. Not even birds. Not even insects. Only silence. Ahead stands a great tree unlike any other. Its branches stretch toward the heavens. Its roots disappear deep into the earth. As Athena approaches, she notices countless objects hanging among the leaves. Crowns, swords, scrolls, ships, helmets, tools. Each represents a different path, a different future, a different destiny. Then a voice speaks, soft, ancient, impossible to identify. Every gift carries a burden, nothing more. The dream ends. Athena awakens before dawn. The stars still shine beyond her window. The message remains with her. Every gift carries a burden. She cannot yet know how often those words will prove true. Her wisdom will bring loneliness. Her victories will bring responsibility. Her guidance will sometimes fail. Even divine understanding has limits. Yet the dream offers another lesson as well. Every burden exists because something valuable has been entrusted to you. Athena slowly begins embracing that idea, not seeking power for its own sake, not pursuing admiration, but accepting responsibility. This attitude gradually earns respect among both gods and mortals. The world below Olympus is changing too. Human settlements grow larger, harbors become busier, temples rise beside hills and coastlines. People pray for guidance, for protection, for understanding. Many do not yet know Athena's name, but they will, because destiny is already moving quietly toward them, like a ship approaching from beyond the horizon, invisible at first, certain nonetheless. And Athena herself continues changing. The curious goddess becomes more confident. The thoughtful observer becomes a participant. The student begins becoming a teacher. Yet one mystery still remains unresolved. The strange inheritance left by Metis, the wisdom hidden within her birth. Soon Athena will discover abilities unlike those of any other god. Abilities that will reveal exactly what kind of divine being she is becoming. And the first sign will arrive through a challenge that tests not her strength, but her judgment. The years pass gently upon Olympus, not as they pass among mortals, not measured by wrinkles, grey hair, or fading strength. Among the gods, time moves differently. Seasons drift across the world below like clouds over the sea. Cities grow, forests spread. Children become elders and vanish into memory. Yet upon Olympus, the immortals remain unchanged, or so it appears. In truth, Athena is changing constantly, not in appearance, in understanding. You find her once again, standing upon a marble terrace at dawn. The first light of morning touches the distant sea. A cool breeze carries the scent of salt water and olive leaves. Far below, fishermen prepare their boats. Priests light sacred fires. The world awakens. Athena watches all of it, patiently, thoughtfully. The desire to understand mortals has never left her. If anything, it has grown stronger. Many gods view humans as temporary creatures. Interesting, perhaps. Useful sometimes. Forgettable eventually. Athena sees something different. Potential. The ability to learn. The ability to improve. The ability to transform weakness into strength. These qualities fascinate her, perhaps because she embodies them herself. Unlike gods, who rely on raw force, Athena believes wisdom must be cultivated. Even immortals are not born knowing everything. This belief shapes the next stage of her life, for wisdom cannot remain hidden. Eventually it must be tested. The opportunity arrives unexpectedly. One morning a dispute erupts among lesser divine beings. The argument concerns territory, a spring, a grove, a shrine. The details seem trivial, at least initially. Voices rise, accusations spread. Old grievances emerge. Soon the disagreement threatens to become violence. The situation is brought before Olympus. Several gods offer solutions. Most involve punishment. A few suggest force. Others simply lose interest. Athena listens quietly. Then she asks a question. A simple question, one no one else considered. What do both sides truly need? Silence follows. The argument slows. For a moment, everyone stops speaking. The question changes everything. Instead of focusing on victory, Athena focuses on purpose. Instead of asking who deserves to win, she asks what outcome serves everyone best. Hours later, a peaceful solution emerges. The spring is shared, the shrine expanded, the grove protected. No battle occurs, no punishment is required. The conflict ends. Word spreads quickly. Athena solved a problem without creating another. Ancient Greeks admired stories like this, not because peace was always possible, but because wisdom seeks solutions beyond simple domination. Power can force obedience. Wisdom can create agreement. The distinction becomes central to Athena's identity. Soon, similar situations follow. A dispute among sea nymphs, a disagreement between local spirits, questions raised by newly founded cities. Again and again, Athena is asked to advise. Again and again, she demonstrates a remarkable talent. She sees connections others miss, patterns hidden beneath emotions, consequences stretching far into the future. Her reputation grows, not as the strongest goddess, as the wisest. And yet wisdom carries dangers of its own, because the more clearly you see the world, the more suffering becomes visible. One evening, Athena walks alone through a sacred olive grove. The moon hangs low above the hills. Silver light filters through leaves that rustle softly in the breeze. Owls perch among the branches, watching, waiting. The grove feels peaceful, yet something troubles her. Earlier that day, she observed a village below Olympus. The harvest had failed. Families struggled. Children went hungry. The prayers rising from that place were filled with desperation. Athena cannot forget them. This creates an uncomfortable realization. Knowledge alone changes nothing. You may understand suffering completely, yet understanding does not automatically remove it. The lesson weighs heavily upon her. Many ancient myths overlook moments like this, yet they are important. Because Athena's compassion grows alongside her wisdom, she does not simply wish to understand humanity, she wishes to help, and helping proves far more difficult. That same night, another omen appears, a mysterious one. As Athena sits beside a small sacred fire, an owl lands nearby. The bird remains unusually still. Its golden eyes reflect the flames. Then it spreads its wings. A single olive leaf falls from above. It lands at Athena's feet. The owl departs immediately. Nothing else happens. The moment lasts only seconds, yet Athena senses meaning within it. Ancient Greeks often interpreted unusual animal behavior as divine signs, messages hidden within ordinary events. The exact meaning of this omen remains uncertain. Perhaps even Athena cannot fully explain it. But the image stays with her. An owl, an olive leaf, wisdom and peace together, two symbols linked forever. Later generations will build entire traditions around these images. Coins will carry owls. Temples will feature olive branches. Cities will place both under Athena's protection. But for now, they exist only as possibilities. Small seeds awaiting growth. As months pass, Athena begins visiting the mortal world more frequently, sometimes openly, sometimes disguised. The ancient stories describe these journeys in different ways. Some portray her walking among shepherds. Others place her beside craftsmen, sailors, or rulers. The details vary. The pattern remains. Athena learns from people, and people learn from Athena. One tale survives from this period. A humble craftsman struggles to complete an important project. His tools break repeatedly. His frustration grows. At last exhausted, he abandons the work. That night, a woman appears in his dream. She does not complete the task for him. She offers no magical solution. Instead, she shows him a different method, a better approach. When he awakens, he follows the advice. The project succeeds. The craftsman never forgets the experience. Neither do those who hear the story. Whether literal or symbolic, the message is clear. Athena does not simply grant success. She teaches people how to achieve it themselves. This becomes one of her most enduring qualities. A guide rather than a rescuer. A teacher rather than a ruler. A source of wisdom rather than dependency. Yet even as her reputation grows, destiny continues preparing greater challenges. Because wisdom often attracts rivalry, and no rivalry looms larger than the one slowly forming beyond the horizon. Far out upon the sea, waves crash against rocky shores. Storm clouds gather over distant waters. There another powerful god watches the mortal world. A god older than many cities. A god whose domain covers most of the earth. Poseidon, lord of the sea. Earthshaker, master of storms. Soon his path and Athena's path will collide. Not through hatred, not through war, but through a contest. A contest that will determine the fate of an entire city. A city that does not yet know it is destined to carry Athena's name. And somewhere in the darkness before dawn, another owl takes flight across the sleeping world, as if carrying news of the future, a future that has already begun to move. The sea is restless tonight. Moonlight scatters across the water like fragments of silver. Waves roll toward the rocky coast, breaking against cliffs that have stood unchanged for countless generations. Salt fills the cool air. Far inland olive trees sway gently beneath the stars. You stand upon a rugged hill overlooking a growing settlement. It is not yet famous. Its temples are modest. Its harbour remains small. Its people are still shaping their future. Yet destiny has already noticed this place, and destiny rarely passes by without leaving a mark. The settlement rests upon the region that future generations will call Ithaca. Its people are hard-working, resourceful, ambitious. They dream of prosperity, safety, greatness. Like all communities, they seek protection. And in the ancient world, protection often came from the gods. The question is simple. Which god will become their divine guardian? The answer is not. For two powerful immortals desire the honor. Athena and Poseidon. The rivalry that has slowly gathered beneath the surface is about to emerge. Not through armies, not through violence, but through a test. A choice, a contest that will reveal two very different visions of power. You can almost feel the tension building as dawn approaches. Far beneath the sea, Poseidon watches. The Lord of Oceans is magnificent, ancient, powerful. His moods shape coastlines. His storms scatter fleets. His trident can shake the earth itself. Many sailors pray to him before every voyage. Many kings fear his anger. To receive Poseidon's protection would be no small blessing. Yet Athena sees the future differently. She understands that strength alone cannot sustain a civilization. A city needs more than power. It needs wisdom, stability, patience. The challenge is set. The people themselves will decide. Each deity must offer a gift. The greater gift will determine the city's protector. As the appointed day arrives, crowds gather beneath clear skies. The air feels charged with anticipation. Sacred fires burn beside temporary altars. Priests chant prayers. Children climb hillsides for a better view. No one wishes to miss what comes next. The gods themselves descend to witness the event. Olympus watches. The sea watches. Even the wind seems to pause. Poseidon steps forward first. His presence is impossible to ignore. The ground trembles beneath his feet. His dark hair moves like storm clouds. His eyes reflect the depths of the ocean. Without hesitation, he raises his mighty trident. The three-pronged spear gleams beneath the sun. Then he strikes the earth. The impact echoes across the landscape. Stone cracks. Dust rises. A deep roar emerges from below. For a moment, everyone holds their breath. Then water bursts from the ground. A spring appears. Clear, powerful, magnificent. The crowd gasps. The display is undeniably impressive. Water means life. Water means survival. Water means possibility. Poseidon smiles. His gift demonstrates strength, authority, control over nature itself. Yet as the people approach, disappointment spreads. The water is salty, undrinkable. Some traditions tell the story this way. Others claim Poseidon produced a horse instead. A magnificent creature unlike anything mortals had seen before. Fast, strong, beautiful, a symbol of power and conquest. Ancient sources preserve both versions. Historians continue debating which tradition emerged first. Perhaps different regions favored different memories. Perhaps both contain symbolic truths. Whatever the case, the meaning remains consistent. Poseidon's gift represents force, speed, dominion, the ability to command. The people murmur among themselves, impressed, yet uncertain. Then Athena steps forward. Unlike Poseidon, she creates no earthquake, no explosion, no dramatic display. The contrast is striking. The goddess kneels quietly beside the rocky ground. For a moment, nothing happens. Only the breeze moves. Only the distant sea continues its eternal rhythm. Then Athena touches the earth. A small green shoot appears. The crowd watches. The shoot grows, slowly, steadily. Branches emerge, leaves unfold. Within moments, a tree stands before them. An olive tree, simple, graceful, alive. At first, the gift seems modest compared to Poseidon's spectacle. No thunder accompanies its arrival. No trembling earth announces its presence. Yet Athena begins explaining what the tree offers. Food, oil, wood, shade, trade, light, generations of prosperity. The olive tree asks for patience, but rewards that patience abundantly. The people listen, and gradually they begin understanding. Poseidon's gift offers immediate power. Athena's gift offers lasting civilization. One dazzles, the other sustains. The distinction feels subtle, yet it changes everything. You watch the crowd's reaction shift. The longer they consider the gifts, the clearer the choice becomes. A city cannot thrive on spectacle alone. It must survive winter, feed families, support craftsmen, build futures. Athena's gift speaks directly to those needs. The decision is made. The people choose Athena. The city becomes hers. In time, it will be known as Athens, a name carried across thousands of years, a name forever linked to wisdom. The celebration that follows fills the region with joy. Sacred fires blaze throughout the night. Songs echo across hillsides. Offerings appear at newly dedicated shrines. Athena has won, yet victory often creates consequences, and consequences rarely remain hidden for long. Poseidon does not accept defeat easily. The sea god's pride has been wounded. Ancient stories describe his anger in various ways. Some tell of floods, others speak of storms. A few traditions suggest he cursed parts of the land. The details differ. The emotion remains recognizable. Disappointment, resentment, humiliation. For perhaps the first time, Poseidon has learned that strength does not guarantee admiration. Athena, meanwhile, gains something more valuable than a title. She gains responsibility. The city now looks to her. Its successes will reflect upon her. Its failures will as well. Being chosen means becoming accountable. This lesson stays with Athena. Indeed, it becomes one of the central themes of her life. Every blessing carries obligations. Every victory creates expectations. Every gift demands stewardship. The olive tree itself becomes a powerful symbol. Ancient Greeks later filled Athens with olive groves. Its oil illuminated homes and temples. Its branches crowned victors. Its wood served countless practical purposes. What began as a mythological gift became part of daily life. Some researchers believe the story reflects the historical importance of olive cultivation in Greek society. Another interpretation survives alongside it. Perhaps the myth teaches that wisdom often appears less dramatic than force, less exciting, less immediate, yet far more enduring. Athena seems to understand this instinctively. As the celebrations fade and the stars emerge overhead, she walks alone through the newly blessed land. The young olive tree stands quietly beneath the moon. Its leaves shimmer silver in the night breeze. Athena reaches out and touches one branch. For a moment she smiles, not with pride, with hope, because she sees possibilities here. A city devoted to learning, to creativity, to thoughtful leadership. A place where wisdom might flourish. Yet the future remains uncertain. Cities, like people, must make choices. Good intentions alone cannot guarantee success. Far ahead lie triumphs, mistakes, wars, golden ages, dark periods. Athens will experience all of them, and Athena will watch every chapter unfold. But tonight another sign appears. A distant owl circles above the olive tree. Once, twice, then disappears into the darkness. An omen, a reminder. The goddess has won a city, yet destiny is already preparing another challenge. One that will test not her wisdom, but her pride. And the consequences of that test will endure for centuries. Years pass, then decades. The olive tree continues growing. Its roots sink deeper into the rocky earth of Ithaca. Its branches spread wider with each season. Generations of birds nest among its leaves. Children play beneath its shade. Travelers rest beside its trunk before continuing their journeys. The tree becomes more than a gift. It becomes a promise. And as the tree grows, so does the city. You stand upon a hillside overlooking Athens during the early years of its rise. Morning sunlight washes across white stone buildings. Smoke rises from hearth fires. Merchants arrange goods within bustling markets. Fishermen return to harbour carrying the night's catch. The scent of olive oil bread and sea air drifts through the streets. Life fills every corner. Athena watches from above. The city now bears her name. Its people call upon her for guidance. Its leaders dedicate ceremonies in her honour. Its craftsmen carve her image into stone and bronze. Yet what pleases Athena most is not devotion. It is growth. She sees a community learning to shape its future. The process fascinates her. Unlike many gods, Athena rarely seeks worship for its own sake. Respect matters, honour matters, but wisdom matters more. Again and again she encourages qualities that will strengthen the city. Patience, discipline, skill, knowledge. These become her gifts to Athens, and Athens responds. Workshops appear throughout the city. Artisans improve their craft. Builders experiment with new techniques. Shipwrights design stronger vessels. Farmers refine methods passed down through generations. Progress arrives gradually, like the steady growth of an olive tree. Not dramatic, not sudden, but lasting. This reflects Athena's nature perfectly. Many myths focus on heroes and monsters, on battles and miracles. Yet some of Athena's greatest achievements occur quietly, through learning, through teaching, through inspiration. One evening, as the sun sinks toward the western sea, Athena walks through the city, disguised as a mortal woman. Ancient stories often describe gods doing this, observing humanity unseen, listening, learning. The streets glow with torchlight. Laughter echoes from nearby homes. Musicians play simple melodies beside market stalls. Athena passes unnoticed among the crowd. A blacksmith wipes sweat from his brow after a long day's labour. A teacher shares stories beneath a colonnade. A young sailor studies maps before an upcoming voyage. Each person pursues knowledge in some form. Each person attempts to improve. Athena feels a quiet satisfaction, not because they worship her, because they are becoming wiser. This distinction remains important. The goddess values human potential more than human praise. Yet even in prosperous times, challenges emerge. No city escapes them. One year brings drought. The rivers shrink. Fields suffer. Concern spreads among the population. Another year brings political disputes. Different leaders argue over the city's direction. Old rivalries reappear. New tensions emerge. Athena watches carefully. She cannot solve every problem, nor does she try. Instead, she inspires, guides, encourages thoughtful choices. The role of protector proves more complicated than she once imagined. The dream from her youth returns to memory. Every gift carries a burden. The truth of those words grows clearer each year. A city is not a statue. It cannot simply be created and admired. It must be nurtured constantly, protected constantly. Wisdom requires maintenance. Just as gardens require tending, just as olive trees require care, Athena begins understanding responsibility in a deeper way. And with that understanding comes loneliness. For wisdom often means seeing dangers others ignore. One night she stands upon the Acropolis beneath a sky crowded with stars. The city sleeps below. Only a few lanterns remain visible. A cool breeze moves across the hilltop. The scent of olive wood fires lingers in the air. Athena gazes toward the future. Something troubles her. Athens is flourishing, yet prosperity can create pride. Success can create complacency. Both have destroyed civilizations before. She senses these risks, even if the people do not. The burden of foresight weighs heavily. To see possibilities is a blessing. To see dangers is often painful. This emotional complexity becomes one of Athena's defining traits. Unlike many immortals, she worries, not out of fear for herself, out of concern for others. Ancient worshippers may have recognized this quality. Many viewed Athena as a goddess who genuinely cared about the success of cities and individuals alike. Not because she was sentimental, because she understood consequences. And consequences matter. The years continue passing. Athens grows into one of the most important cities in Greece. Its influence spreads. Its reputation expands. Travelers carry stories of Athena's city to distant regions. Temples dedicated to her appear elsewhere as well. Small shrines stand beside roads. Sacred groves are planted in her honor. The owl becomes increasingly associated with her worship. So does the olive branch. Symbols begin taking root alongside belief. Some researchers suggest these symbols resonated because they reflected practical values. The owl represented observation. The olive tree represented sustainability. Together, they embodied wisdom in action. Whatever the reason, Athena's presence becomes deeply woven into Greek life. Yet fame brings new challenges. As her reputation grows, comparisons become inevitable. People begin speaking of Athena as the greatest artisan among the gods, the greatest strategist, the wisest counselor, the finest creator. Such praise can be dangerous, not because it is false, because it invites challenge. Far away, another gifted creator hears these stories. A mortal, young, brilliant, extraordinarily talented. Her name is Arachne. Her skill with weaving astonishes everyone who sees it. Threads become images beneath her hands. Stories emerge from cloth. Beauty seems effortless. At first, admiration surrounds her. Then ambition follows. Then pride. The pattern is ancient and familiar. Athena does not yet know how important this mortal woman will become. Nor does Arachne realize she is walking toward one of the most famous encounters in mythology. But signs are already appearing. One afternoon, an unusual dream visits Athena. She sees a loom standing alone in darkness. Golden threads stretch endlessly into the distance. Some shine brightly, others snap suddenly. At the center of the loom sits a single spider, patient, silent, waiting. When Athena awakens, dawn has not yet arrived. The stars still cover the sky. The meaning remains unclear, yet the image lingers, as omens often do. Perhaps it is merely a dream. Perhaps it is a warning. Perhaps destiny is beginning to weave another thread into her story. Far below, Athens continues sleeping peacefully beneath the protection of its goddess, unaware that a challenge is approaching. A challenge not of strength, not of wisdom, but of pride. And even the wisest among gods are not immune to that temptation. The loom stands silent. Wood, polished smooth by years of use, catches the glow of afternoon sunlight. Coloured threads hang neatly from nearby shelves. The air smells faintly of wool, olive oil, and warm stone. You stand within a workshop far from Olympus, far from golden halls, far from immortal concerns. Yet destiny has arrived here all the same. A young woman bends over her work. Her hands move with extraordinary confidence. Thread passes through thread. Pattern follows pattern. Images emerge as though by magic. This is Arachne, a mortal whose skill has become the subject of countless conversations. People travel great distances simply to watch her work. They gather outside her workshop. They whisper in markets. They tell stories beside evening fires. Some claim no human has ever woven so beautifully. Others go further. They suggest no one, not even Athena herself, could surpass her. At first, such comparisons seem harmless. Compliments often grow larger each time they are repeated. A talented craftsperson becomes a master becomes a legend becomes something almost mythical. Yet praise can change people, especially when it arrives constantly. Day after day, year after year, Arachne begins hearing the same words everywhere. Unmatched, extraordinary, the greatest. Eventually, she starts believing them. The transformation is subtle, almost invisible, but it is there. You notice it in the way she responds to admiration. At first, she smiles with gratitude. Later, she accepts it as expected. Then she begins demanding it. The change concerns some of those around her. For the Greeks understood something important about human nature. Success can inspire humility or pride, often both. The choice between them matters greatly. One warm evening, villagers gather to admire Arachne's latest creation. The woven scene appears almost alive. Mountains rise from the fabric. Rivers seem to flow. Figures appear ready to move. The crowd gasps in admiration. An older woman standing nearby offers a simple suggestion, a respectful one. Perhaps she says Arachne should thank Athena for inspiring such gifts. The workshop grows quiet. The response surprises everyone. Arachne laughs, not kindly, not gently, dismissively. She claims Athena deserves no credit. The talent belongs entirely to her. Then she goes further, far further. If Athena herself wishes to compete, Arachne declares she would gladly accept the challenge. Silence follows, heavy silence, the kind that settles over a room when boundaries have been crossed. Many listeners lower their eyes. Others exchange nervous glances. The gods hear more than mortals realize, and words once spoken cannot easily be reclaimed. Far away upon Olympus, Athena learns of the challenge. The news reaches her through various traditions, perhaps through divine messengers, perhaps through prayers, perhaps through simple awareness. Ancient sources differ. What matters is her reaction. And here the story becomes fascinating, because Athena's response reveals something deeply human, even within a goddess. At first, she does not become angry. She becomes curious. Could the stories be true? Could a mortal truly possess such remarkable skill? Athena decides to see for herself. Disguised as an elderly woman, she descends from Olympus. The journey occurs beneath soft morning light. Birdsong fills the air. The scent of flowering herbs drifts through the countryside. Nothing about the day suggests conflict, only possibility. Athena enters Arachne's workshop unnoticed. The disguise is convincing. No one recognizes the goddess. She watches quietly, and what she sees impresses her. Arachne is genuinely gifted, exceptionally gifted. The stories have not exaggerated. Every movement demonstrates mastery. Every pattern reveals imagination. For a moment, Athena simply admires the work. Then she speaks. Her voice is gentle, respectful. She advises Arachne to show humility, to honor the gods, to appreciate the gifts she has received. The warning offers an opportunity, a chance to step away from danger, a chance to choose wisdom over pride. Arachne refuses. Not only refuses, mocks. She repeats her challenge openly, demanding that Athena appear, demanding a contest. The workshop falls silent once more. Then the old woman straightens. The disguise vanishes. Light fills the room. Athena stands revealed, radiant, powerful, impossible to mistake. Gasps echo throughout the workshop. Several witnesses fall to their knees. Others stare in stunned disbelief. The challenge has been answered. The contest will proceed. Two looms are prepared, one for the goddess, one for the mortal. The atmosphere becomes almost sacred. The room feels transformed, like a temple, like a courtroom, like a place where destiny itself has arrived. Athena begins weaving. Her hands move with calm precision. Thread becomes image. Image becomes story. She creates scenes celebrating divine order, the achievements of the gods, the relationship between heaven and earth. The beauty is extraordinary. Every detail shines with meaning. Every pattern reflects harmony. The work embodies everything Athena values: wisdom, balance, purpose. When she finishes, the room seems brighter, as though the fabric itself contains light. Then Arachne begins, and something unexpected happens. Her work is magnificent, truly magnificent. Even Athena cannot deny it. The craftsmanship is flawless, the creativity astonishing, yet the subject matter differs dramatically. Instead of celebrating the gods, Arachne depicts their flaws, their deceptions, their mistakes, their vanity. Scenes from mythology appear across the cloth, stories many immortals would rather forget. The message is unmistakable, bold, fearless, provocative. For a moment, no one speaks. The silence stretches. Athena studies the tapestry carefully. Ancient versions of the story diverge here. Some portray Athena as enraged by being challenged. Others suggest something more complicated. Perhaps she is disturbed because Arachne's criticisms contain truth. Perhaps she recognizes the talent before her and feels threatened. Perhaps both. Historians and scholars continue debating the question. The ambiguity makes the myth enduring, because human emotions are rarely simple. Neither are divine ones. What happens next becomes one of the most famous transformations in Greek mythology. Athena tears the tapestry. The act shocks everyone present. Then she punishes Arachne. In some traditions, the mortal woman falls into despair. In others, Athena acts immediately. The details vary. The outcome remains consistent. Arachne is transformed into a spider, small, fragile, forever weaving, forever creating, forever connected to the skill that defined her life. The workshop falls silent. The contest is over. Yet victory feels strangely hollow. Athena has won, but something troubles her. The feeling lingers long afterward, like a shadow crossing sunlight. Because wisdom recognizes complexity, and this situation contains much of it. Arachne's pride led her toward disaster. That lesson is clear. Yet Athena's reaction reveals something as well. Even the goddess of wisdom can struggle with wounded pride. Even she can act emotionally. Even she can make choices that invite reflection. The myth survives because neither figure is entirely right, neither entirely wrong. Both possess admirable qualities. Both possess flaws. Ancient audiences understood this. Perhaps that is why they continue telling the story, not as a tale of simple good and evil, but as a warning. Talent without humility can become dangerous. Power without self-awareness can become dangerous too. Athena carries this lesson forward. Though she rarely speaks of it, the memory remains. A reminder that wisdom is not a destination. It is a practice, a discipline, a constant effort. And as the years pass, another challenge begins emerging, one very different from weaving. Far across Greece, heroes are rising. Monsters stir in forgotten lands. Prophecies awaken. Soon, Athena will discover that her greatest purpose may not be ruling cities at all. It may be guiding those brave enough to face impossible journeys. And somewhere in the darkness before dawn, a young prince named Perseus is about to take his first step toward destiny. The wind moves softly across the hills of Greece. Moonlight washes over distant valleys. Silver rivers wind through dark forests. Far away, waves strike lonely shorelines, their rhythm steady and eternal. You stand beside Athena upon a high ridge, overlooking the sleeping world. The goddess is quiet tonight, more reflective than usual. The memory of Arachne has not entirely faded. Wisdom rarely forgets its mistakes. Instead, it studies them, learns from them, carries them forward. Athena has begun to understand something important. Knowledge alone does not make someone wise. Neither does power. True wisdom requires self-mastery, the ability to govern one's own emotions before attempting to guide others. This lesson will shape the next chapter of her life. Because the world below is changing. Human kingdoms grow larger, rivalries deepen, ambitions expand, conflict becomes increasingly common. Wherever people gather, disagreements eventually follow. And where disagreements grow unchecked, war often waits nearby. The ancient Greeks understood this reality well. War touched nearly every generation, every family, every city, yet not all forms of warfare appeared the same. This distinction becomes central to Athena's identity, for among the Olympians, there already exists a god associated with battle. Ares, powerful, fearsome, violent. Ares delights in combat itself, the clash of bronze, the roar of armies, the chaos of bloodshed. Wherever conflict erupts, he is drawn toward it, not because he seeks justice, because he loves struggle. Athena could not be more different. She understands warfare, perhaps better than anyone, yet she does not admire destruction. She studies strategy, preparation, discipline, leadership. If Ares represents war's fury, Athena represents war's intelligence. The contrast fascinates the Greeks. Ancient artists often portrayed both gods together for this reason. Two visions of power, two visions of human conflict, one driven by passion, the other by thought. One afternoon, the difference becomes impossible to ignore. A dispute has erupted between neighboring kingdoms. Messengers race across roads. Armies gather. Weapons are sharpened. The smell of campfires fills the evening air. Ares watches eagerly. Athena watches carefully. The distinction matters. Ares sees glory approaching. Athena sees consequences. She sees widows, orphans, burned fields, years of suffering that victory alone cannot erase. This perspective shapes every decision she makes. When generals pray for guidance, Athena does not promise easy triumph. She rewards preparation, planning, patience. The leaders who earn her favor are rarely the strongest. They are the most thoughtful, the most disciplined, the most capable of controlling themselves. This reputation spreads steadily throughout Greece. Soldiers begin honoring Athena before campaigns, not because they crave violence, because they hope to survive it, because they hope to act wisely within it. One surviving tradition describes a commander who receives a strange dream before battle. The dream comes beneath a sky crowded with stars. A woman wearing bronze armor appears beside a quiet river. She says only a few words. Victory belongs to those who understand tomorrow. Then she disappears. The commander awakens confused. At first, the message seems meaningless, but during the following days, he realizes something. His enemy focuses entirely on winning the immediate battle. He focuses on what happens afterward. Supply lines, alliances, resources, consequences. The result changes everything. Whether the story truly occurred hardly matters. Its symbolism is unmistakable. Athena teaches people to think beyond the present moment, beyond emotion, beyond impulse. That ability becomes one of her greatest gifts and one of her greatest burdens. Foreseeing consequences often means recognizing uncomfortable truths. One evening, Athena visits a battlefield after the fighting has ended. The sun has already disappeared. Twilight spreads across the landscape. Broken shields lie scattered among trampled grass. Campfires burn in the distance. The air smells of smoke and damp earth. The battle has been won. Yet the scene feels far from victorious. Athena walks alone through the quiet aftermath. She observes the cost, the suffering, the losses on both sides. Ancient myths rarely linger on these moments. Athena does, because wisdom requires honesty, and honesty reveals what celebration often hides. Victory solves some problems, creates others. Every triumph carries a price. The realization deepens her understanding of responsibility. Increasingly, she becomes less interested in winning, more interested in preserving, protecting, guiding. This evolution marks an important stage in her character. The young goddess who once sought understanding now seeks balance. Strength balanced by restraint, knowledge balanced by compassion, authority balanced by humility. The process is gradual, yet unmistakable. At the same time, her reputation continues expanding. Craftsmen admire her skill. Rulers seek her advice. Soldiers honor her leadership. Sailors pray for guidance before dangerous voyages. No longer is Athena merely a goddess of wisdom. She has become a goddess of civilization itself, a protector of everything required to build a thriving society. And yet something remains missing, a deeper purpose, a greater calling. Athena senses it, though she cannot yet define it. Sometimes she stands upon the Acropolis and gazes toward distant horizons, toward lands she has never visited, toward stories she has not yet entered. The feeling resembles anticipation, as though destiny waits just beyond sight. One night the feeling grows stronger. The moon hangs full above the sea. Silver light touches every wave. A cool wind moves through olive groves surrounding Athens. Athena sleeps lightly. Then the vision arrives. She sees a polished bronze shield. Its surface reflects the stars. At first, nothing seems unusual. Then another image appears within the reflection. A young man, determined, nervous, standing at the edge of a dangerous journey. Behind him rises the shadow of a monster, terrible, ancient, winged. Its gaze turns stone itself into death. The young man lifts his eyes toward the heavens. As though searching for help, the vision fades. Athena awakens immediately. The night remains silent, yet the message feels unmistakable. Somewhere in the world, a hero is preparing to begin his story, and destiny intends their paths to cross. The Greeks loved such moments. Dreams, prophecies, signs, not because they guaranteed the future, because they hinted at possibilities. The future remained uncertain, yet threads of fate could occasionally be glimpsed. Athena senses one of those threads now, a significant one, perhaps the most significant she has encountered so far. For all her wisdom, all her victories, all her influence, her greatest legacy may not come from cities, or wars, or temples. It may come through the heroes she chooses to guide. And far beyond Athens, beneath another sky and another moon, a young prince named Perseus is already walking toward a destiny filled with monsters, courage, and impossible choices. Soon Athena will step into that story, and nothing afterward will be quite the same. The dream lingers. Even after dawn spreads across Olympus, Athena remembers every detail. The bronze shield, the shadowed monster, the young man standing at the edge of destiny. Some dreams fade with morning. This one does not. The image remains clear, persistent, like a distant bell echoing across a quiet valley. You stand beside Athena upon a marble balcony as sunlight pours across the world below. The sea sparkles beneath the early sky. White clouds drift above mountain peaks. Somewhere beyond those horizons, the young man from the vision continues his journey. He does not yet know that a goddess has seen him. He does not yet know that fate is already weaving their stories together. His name is Perseus, and he is about to become one of the greatest heroes in Greek mythology. Like many heroes, Perseus begins not with power, but with uncertainty. His story carries traces of prophecy from the very beginning. Long before Athena enters his life, another king receives a frightening prediction. The ruler named Acrisius learns that one day his daughter's son will cause his death. The prophecy terrifies him. Ancient myths return to this theme repeatedly. Fear of the future, Fear of destiny, fear of losing control. Again and again, individuals attempt to escape such predictions. Again and again, fate finds a way. The pattern should sound familiar. Zeus faced it. Cronus faced it. Now another king faces it as well. Acrisius imprisons his daughter, hoping to prevent the prophecy. The plan fails, as such plans usually do. Years later, Perseus enters the world. His path is difficult from the beginning. Danger follows him. Uncertainty surrounds him. Yet hardship often shapes extraordinary people. Athena understands this, perhaps because she herself emerged from unusual circumstances. Perhaps because wisdom recognizes that struggle often teaches lessons comfort cannot. The years pass. Perseus grows into a capable young man, brave, respectful, determined, yet he remains human. He possesses no divine certainty, no immortal power, only courage. And courage alone rarely feels sufficient. One evening, Athena watches him from afar. The young hero stands beside the sea. The waves roll gently onto the shore. The smell of salt fills the air. A cool breeze moves through the darkness. Perseus appears troubled. The task before him seems impossible. A cruel king has demanded something absurd. The head of Medusa, a monster so terrifying that a single glance can turn living beings to stone. Countless warriors have failed. Many never returned. The mission feels less like a challenge, more like a death sentence. Athena studies the young hero carefully. What she sees interests her. Perseus is afraid, truly afraid, yet he continues forward. This distinction matters greatly. Ancient Greeks admired courage not because it eliminated fear, because it acted despite fear. Perseus embodies that ideal, and Athena decides to help, not because destiny demands it, because she chooses to. This decision reveals something important about her character. Many gods intervene for selfish reasons. Athena often intervenes because she sees potential. She believes mortals can become more than they imagine. The belief becomes one of her defining traits. That night, another dream arrives. This time it visits Perseus. He finds himself standing beside a still pool of water. The stars reflect perfectly upon its surface. No wind disturbs the image. No sound breaks the silence. Across the water stands a woman clad in shining armor. She says only a few words. "Look not at the monster. Look at the reflection." Then she vanishes. Perseus awakens before sunrise. The dream confuses him, yet something about it feels important. The message stays with him. Waiting, the hero continues his journey. Across mountains, through forests, past lonely shrines and forgotten roads. Athena watches often, not always closely, not constantly. But enough. The relationship begins forming long before they ever meet directly. A bond built upon observation and trust. The goddess recognizes qualities she values deeply: intelligence, humility, perseverance. Unlike many heroes, Perseus rarely boasts. He rarely seeks glory. He simply continues moving forward, one step at a time. Eventually, Athena chooses to reveal herself. The encounter occurs beneath a sky bright with stars. The young hero rests beside a small fire. The smell of burning olive wood drifts through the night air. Crickets sing softly among nearby grasses. The world feels peaceful. Then light appears. Gentle at first, then brighter. Athena steps from the darkness. Radiant, calm, unmistakably divine. Perseus immediately rises. A mixture of awe and uncertainty fills his expression. Athena studies him for a moment. Then she smiles, not the smile of a distant goddess. The smile of a teacher meeting a promising student. Their conversation becomes one of the most important moments in Perseus's life. Athena does not promise victory. She does not remove danger. Instead, she offers guidance, advice, perspective, the very gifts she values most. This choice reflects her nature perfectly. Wisdom rarely solves every problem. It helps people solve problems themselves. Before departing, Athena gives Perseus a remarkable gift. A polished shield. Its surface gleams like a mirror. Beautiful, practical, symbolic. At first the gift seems simple, yet Athena knows exactly why it matters. The shield represents more than protection. It represents insight, the ability to view danger indirectly, the ability to think differently, the ability to overcome strength through intelligence. All qualities Athena admires. The symbolism runs deeper still. Many ancient scholars interpreted the shield as a metaphor for self-awareness. Direct confrontation is not always wise. Sometimes reflection reveals solutions that force cannot. The Greeks loved such layered meanings, and Athena embodies them beautifully. As Perseus continues his journey, the bond between goddess and hero strengthens, not through constant intervention, through trust. Athena guides when necessary, steps back when possible, allows the hero to grow. This becomes her preferred approach with many mortals. A teacher does not carry a student forever. A teacher prepares a student to walk alone, yet the greatest challenge still lies ahead. Far away beyond the familiar world, Medusa waits. Ancient, feared, surrounded by mystery. Even her story contains unanswered questions. Some traditions portray her as a monster from birth. Others preserve a more tragic version, one connected unexpectedly to Athena herself. That story remains in the future. For now, Perseus approaches the land of the Gorgons. The polished shield hangs at his side. Moonlight glimmers across its surface. Each step brings him closer to destiny, and Athena watches from afar, hopeful, concerned, curious, for even the wisest goddess cannot see every outcome. The future remains unwritten. The hero remains mortal, and somewhere beyond the edge of the known world, the eyes of Medusa are already waiting. The night feels unusually still. No wind stirs the grass. No waves crash upon distant shores. Even the stars seem frozen in place above the sleeping world. You stand beside Athena upon a high cliff overlooking the sea. Far beyond the horizon, Perseus continues his journey toward Medusa. The hero is approaching his destiny. Yet Athena's thoughts are not focused entirely on him. Instead, they drift toward the creature he seeks, Medusa. Few figures in Greek mythology inspire more questions. Few figures carry more mystery. Even among ancient storytellers, her story remained uncertain. Different traditions preserved different memories. Different generations told different versions. And hidden within those contradictions lies one of the most complicated chapters of Athena's life. Tonight, as moonlight spreads across the water, you find yourself drawn into that mystery. Because to understand Athena fully, you must also understand Medusa, or at least the many versions of her that survive. The oldest traditions describe Medusa as one of the Gorgons, a terrifying being from the beginning, a creature with serpents for hair, golden wings, eyes capable of turning living creatures into stone. In these early stories, she is simply a monster, a danger, an obstacle for heroes to overcome. Athena's role remains straightforward. She assists Perseus in defeating a threat, nothing more. Yet myths rarely remain unchanged. As centuries passed, another version emerged, a more tragic one, a more human one. This version would become famous, and it would forever complicate Athena's reputation. In that story, Medusa begins not as a monster, but as a young woman, beautiful, extraordinarily beautiful, so beautiful that people speak of her appearance throughout Greece. The details vary from source to source, yet one element remains consistent. Her beauty attracts attention, the kind of attention that changes lives, not always for the better. Some traditions claim Medusa served as a priestess within a temple dedicated to Athena, a sacred place, a place of devotion, a place of protection. Then comes the event that transforms everything. Ancient writers disagree about exactly what occurred. Some versions describe a romance, others describe violence, still others remain deliberately vague. The uncertainty itself becomes part of the mystery. What survives clearly is the aftermath. Medusa undergoes a terrible transformation. Her beauty vanishes. Serpents replace her hair. Her gaze becomes lethal. Her humanity slips away. And somehow Athena becomes connected to the event. For centuries, people have debated why. Why would the goddess of wisdom punish Medusa? Why would a protector of cities become associated with such a tragedy? Ancient audiences asked these questions too. No single answer ever emerged. Some believed Athena acted to defend the sanctity of her temple. Others suggested divine laws required consequences regardless of personal feelings. Another interpretation survives among modern readers. Perhaps the myth reflects ancient anxieties about beauty, power, and vulnerability. Historians continue debating. The uncertainty remains. Athena herself within the mythology offers no final explanation, and perhaps that silence matters, because life rarely provides simple answers. Neither do myths. You watch Athena gazing toward the sea. The goddess appears thoughtful, almost sorrowful. The story of Medusa lingers like a shadow, a reminder that wisdom does not always prevent suffering. Sometimes it merely recognizes it. The relationship between Athena and Medusa becomes one of mythology's enduring puzzles, and puzzles often reveal more about those asking the questions than about the answers themselves. Far away, Perseus draws nearer. The hero eventually reaches the land of the Gorgons. The place feels unnatural. The air is cold, the silence oppressive. Broken statues stand scattered across the landscape. Men, animals, travelers, all transformed into stone. Each statue tells the same story. Someone looked directly at Medusa. Someone paid the price. The scene unsettles even experienced warriors. Perseus feels fear. How could he not? Yet Athena's guidance remains with him. The polished shield hangs at his side. The dream returns to memory. Look not at the monster. Look at the reflection. The wisdom hidden within those words finally becomes clear. Athena understood something crucial. Some dangers cannot be confronted directly. Some truths require a different perspective. The lesson extends far beyond mythology. Ancient listeners recognize this immediately. Wisdom often means knowing when not to charge forward, knowing when to observe, reflect, adapt. Perseus enters the Gorgon's lair. The darkness feels heavy. The air smells of damp stone and salt. Somewhere ahead, Medusa sleeps. The hero raises Athena's shield. The polished surface reflects the world behind him. He moves carefully, slowly, never looking directly toward the creature. The moment feels suspended in time. Every step matters. Every breath matters. Athena watches from afar, not interfering, not controlling events, simply witnessing, trusting. The distinction reveals how much she has grown. The younger Athena might have focused on victory alone. Now she understands something deeper. Heroes must earn their triumphs. Guidance matters, but growth requires independence. At last, Perseus reaches his target. Using the reflection as his guide, he succeeds. The deed is done. The monster falls. The threat ends. Yet even in victory, complexity remains. Because Medusa's death does not feel entirely triumphant. Not completely. Too many questions linger. Too many uncertainties survive. The Greeks often excelled at stories like this. Stories where victory and sadness coexist. Stories where heroes succeed yet leave audiences reflective rather than celebratory. Athena understands that feeling, perhaps better than most. The tale of Medusa becomes one of the first moments in her life where wisdom collides with ambiguity. Right and wrong refuse to separate neatly. Justice remains difficult to define. The experience leaves a lasting impression, one that shapes future decisions, one that deepens her understanding of responsibility. As Perseus begins his journey home, Athena feels pride, not because a monster has fallen, because a hero has succeeded. The distinction matters enormously. She sees what Perseus has become, more capable, more confident, wiser than before, exactly the kind of growth she hoped to encourage. And for the first time, Athena begins recognizing a pattern. Perhaps her greatest strength is not ruling, not fighting, not even advising. Perhaps her greatest strength lies in helping others become their best selves. The realization arrives quietly, like dawn approaching after a long night. Yet it changes everything, because more heroes are coming, more journeys, more challenges, more opportunities to guide. Far beyond the sea, new destinies are already awakening. And there's somewhere in the years ahead one hero in particular will capture Athena's admiration more completely than any other. A clever king, a restless traveler, a man whose love of strategy mirrors her own. But before that story begins, Athena must first learn what it truly means to shape the lives of heroes. And destiny has already prepared the next lesson. The sea glows beneath the moon. Soft silver light stretches across the water toward distant horizons. Fishing boats drift quietly in sheltered harbours. Temple fires flicker atop lonely hills. Somewhere, an owl calls into the darkness, its voice echoing briefly before fading into the night. You stand beside Athena upon the walls of Athens. Below, the city sleeps peacefully. The goddess does not. Her thoughts wander, not toward Olympus, not toward rival gods, toward mortals, toward the lives she has touched, toward Perseus. The hero's journey has ended successfully. His courage, intelligence, and patience carried him through impossible dangers. Athena helped guide him certainly. Yet the achievement belongs to Perseus. That distinction pleases her. For the first time, Athena begins recognizing a deeper purpose within her life. Cities matter. Wisdom matters, civilization matters, but perhaps her greatest contribution lies elsewhere. Perhaps she is meant to help shape extraordinary individuals, heroes, not by fighting their battles, not by removing hardship, by helping them become capable of facing hardship themselves. The realization settles gently into her mind, like moonlight settling upon calm water, and once she notices the pattern, she begins seeing it everywhere. Throughout Greece, countless individuals struggle toward greatness. Some fail, some succeed. Many stand somewhere between. Athena becomes increasingly interested in these lives, not because they are perfect, because they are unfinished. Potential fascinates her. One afternoon, she visits a workshop near Athens. The building smells of cedarwood and olive oil. Sunlight pours through open windows. The rhythmic sound of tools fills the room. Inside, a young craftsman works tirelessly. His hands are rough from labor. His shoulders ache. Several earlier attempts lie discarded nearby. Broken, imperfect, failed. The young man sighs in frustration. He considers giving up. Athena watches unseen. The scene reminds her of something. Heroes are not limited to warriors, or kings, or adventurers. A person creating something meaningful can display heroism too. Persistence, discipline, commitment. These qualities matter regardless of profession. That evening, the craftsman receives a dream. A simple dream. Nothing dramatic. No thunder. No blazing light. Only a woman standing beside a workbench. She adjusts one small detail in his design, then vanishes. When he awakens, the idea remains. The adjustment succeeds. His work improves. Years later, he becomes renowned throughout the region. The story spreads. Another example of Athena's guidance. Subtle, practical, transformative. The goddess rarely seeks recognition for such acts. Indeed, many people never realize she was involved at all. That suits her perfectly. Wisdom often works quietly. The lesson deepens as the years continue. Athena begins helping rulers make difficult decisions. Sailors navigate dangerous waters. Architects design stronger structures. Teachers inspire curious students. The forms change. The principle remains. She helps people become more capable, more thoughtful, more prepared. Ancient Greeks worshipped Athena partly because she represented this ideal. The belief that human beings could improve themselves, that intelligence could be cultivated, that excellence required effort. Her influence reaches far beyond battlefields, far beyond palaces, into everyday life. One evening, she walks through Athens disguised as a traveler. The marketplace buzzes with activity. Merchants bargain enthusiastically. Children chase one another through narrow streets. Philosophers debate beneath shaded colonnades. The city feels alive. Athena enjoys moments like these. They remind her why wisdom matters, not as an abstract concept, as something practical, something that improves lives. Yet not every lesson comes easily. One night, another dream visits her. A strange one. She stands inside an enormous workshop. Looms stretch endlessly into darkness. Anvils glow with heat. Books fill towering shelves. Every craft imaginable surrounds her. At the center stands a half-finished statue. Its face remains incomplete, its form uncertain. As Athena approaches, a voice speaks. The voice sounds neither male nor female, neither young nor old. Every hero is unfinished. Then silence. The dream ends. Athena awakens before dawn. The stars remain visible beyond her window. The message lingers. Every hero is unfinished. At first, the meaning seems obvious. People grow, people learn, people change. Yet the more she reflects, the deeper the lesson becomes. Even the greatest individuals remain works in progress. Perseus learned courage through fear. Craftsmen learn mastery through mistakes. Rulers learn wisdom through consequences. Growth never truly ends. The realization strengthens Athena's patience. Increasingly, she understands that perfection is not the goal. Progress is. This perspective makes her an exceptional mentor. Unlike many gods, she does not expect immediate success. She values effort, adaptation, learning. These qualities often matter more than natural talent. The belief soon influences another famous story, one involving a young inventor, a gifted student, and a painful lesson about jealousy. Ancient traditions tell of a boy whose creativity astonished everyone around him. Some accounts call him Talos, others preserve different names. Whatever the version, his abilities are remarkable. The boy develops tools, solves problems, creates innovations beyond his years. Athena admires him greatly. The future seems bright, yet success attracts attention, not always positive attention. A relative becomes jealous. The tragedy that follows reminds Athena of Arachne. Human potential can inspire greatness. It can inspire envy as well. The lesson saddens her, yet it reinforces something she already suspects. Wisdom requires character. Skill alone is never enough. Talent without integrity can become dangerous. The insight becomes central to her philosophy. As decades pass, stories of Athena's guidance spread across Greece. Some are certainly exaggerated, others perhaps entirely invented. Yet myths often reveal values rather than facts. And these stories reveal how people viewed her, not merely as a goddess, as a teacher, a protector, a source of encouragement, someone who believed mortals could rise beyond their limitations. The image endures because it resonates deeply. Even today, far above Athens, Athena sometimes reflects upon her own journey. She remembers her unusual birth, the prophecy surrounding Metis, the contest with Poseidon, Arachne, Perseus. Each experience has changed her. The goddess who emerged from Zeus's head already possessed wisdom, yet wisdom itself continues evolving. She understands more now than she once did, especially about responsibility. Guiding others means accepting uncertainty. You cannot guarantee outcomes. You cannot eliminate suffering. You can only offer your best counsel and trust others to choose. The realization feels both freeing and painful. Such is often the nature of wisdom. One evening, Athena gazes westward as the sun sinks into the sea. The horizon glows gold and crimson. Ships appear as dark silhouettes against the fading light. A strange feeling settles over her. Anticipation, as though another important story approaches. Another hero, another life waiting to intersect with hers. The feeling proves correct. Far from Athens on an island kingdom, surrounded by blue waters, a child is growing into adulthood. Curious, resourceful, restless. Unlike Perseus, this future hero will not rely primarily on strength. His greatest weapon will be his mind, his cleverness, his ability to adapt. In many ways, he will reflect Athena herself. Their connection will become one of the most enduring relationships in all Greek mythology. But neither of them knows that yet. For now, the young prince simply gazes out across the sea, dreaming of distant horizons. And Athena, watching from afar, senses that destiny is preparing something extraordinary. The sea stretches endlessly beneath the afternoon sun, blue upon blue, wave upon wave, a vast and restless world connecting islands, kingdoms, and destinies. You stand beside Athena upon a cliff overlooking the water. The wind carries the scent of salt and wild herbs. White gulls circle above distant fishing boats. Far away, sails move slowly across the horizon. Athena watches them thoughtfully. The sea has always fascinated her, not because it belongs to Poseidon, because every voyage represents a choice, a risk, a journey into uncertainty, and few mortals embody that spirit more completely than the man she is about to meet. His name is Odysseus, king of Ithaca, master of strategy, future wanderer of the seas, the hero who will become more closely associated with Athena than any other. Their relationship will span decades. Trials, victories, losses. Together, they will shape one of the greatest stories ever told. Yet their connection begins quietly, long before the Trojan War, long before monsters and shipwrecks, long before legends. At first, Odysseus is simply a young prince, curious, observant, unusually thoughtful. Even as a child, he notices details others overlook. While many young nobles focus on weapons or status, Odysseus enjoys solving problems. Puzzles intrigue him. Strategies fascinate him. He asks questions constantly, sometimes too many. The habit earns mixed reactions. Some admire his intelligence. Others find him frustrating. Athena notices something different. Potential. The same qualities she once recognized in Perseus. But this time the connection feels stronger, more personal, because Odysseus values the very qualities Athena values most: patience, creativity, adaptability, the ability to think before acting. One evening, as twilight settles over Ithaca, the young prince experiences a curious dream. He stands within a vast olive grove. Moonlight filters through silver leaves. The air feels cool and still. At the center of the grove sits an owl, large, silent, Watching, the bird does not speak. It simply turns its head toward a winding path, then takes flight. Odysseus follows. The path leads deeper into the darkness, toward distant stars, toward unknown possibilities. The dream ends before any answers arrive, yet the image remains vivid. Ancient Greeks often interpreted such dreams as signs, not predictions exactly, directions, hints, invitations. Athena, observing from afar, finds the dream meaningful. The young prince is already beginning to walk the path she foresaw, a path guided not by strength alone, but by wisdom. Years pass. Odysseus matures. His reputation grows steadily. He becomes known not as the strongest ruler in Greece, nor the wealthiest, nor the most handsome. Instead, people speak of his mind, his ability to navigate difficult situations, his gift for finding solutions where none seem obvious. Athena admires these qualities deeply because they mirror her own approach to life. For perhaps the first time, she sees a mortal who truly understands her philosophy, not through worship, through action. The bond between them strengthens, though they rarely interact directly. Athena often prefers subtle guidance, a thought arriving at the right moment, an insight emerging unexpectedly, a dream suggesting a new perspective. The methods vary, the purpose remains constant, helping people discover their own potential. Odysseus responds remarkably well. Again and again he chooses cleverness over brute force, negotiation over conflict, planning over impulse. The pattern delights Athena, and yet she knows something important. Great intelligence often creates great challenges. The clever frequently become overconfident. The adaptable sometimes trust themselves too much. Wisdom and pride can exist dangerously close together. The lesson will become important later. For now, however, destiny moves toward a much larger event. Across Greece, rumors spread. A conflict is approaching. A prince named Paris has carried away Helen, the most famous woman in the world. Alliances awaken. Old oaths are remembered. Kings gather. Ships are prepared. The winds of history begin changing direction. The Trojan War approaches. Athena watches these developments with concern. Unlike Ares, she does not celebrate war, yet she understands its inevitability. Certain choices have already been made. Certain consequences are already unfolding. The challenge now becomes minimizing destruction, guiding events where possible, helping those who must endure them. Among the many leaders preparing for war, Odysseus stands out, not because he desires glory. Quite the opposite. Some traditions suggest he initially attempts to avoid the conflict altogether. He understands what war truly means, the suffering, the uncertainty, the years lost forever. Athena respects this reluctance. It reflects maturity rather than cowardice. Nevertheless, destiny proves difficult to escape. Eventually, Odysseus joins the expedition. Thousands of warriors gather along the coast. Ships fill the harbors. Campfires illuminate the night. The smell of salt water mingles with smoke and anticipation. Athena walks among them unseen, listening, observing. The atmosphere feels heavy. Many men dream of victory. Few understand what lies ahead. The war will last far longer than anyone expects. The cost will be enormous. The consequences will echo across generations. One night before the fleet departs, Athena experiences another vision. She stands upon a beach beneath a sky crowded with stars. The sea remains perfectly still, unnaturally still. Before her rests a bow, a helmet, and an olive branch. 3 symbols, 3 paths. War, leadership, wisdom. Then a voice speaks from the darkness. The cleverest journey begins after the battle. The words linger, mysterious, unresolved. Athena awakens troubled. The meaning feels important, yet incomplete. The war has not even begun. Already the vision points beyond it, towards something else, something waiting in the future. Years later, she will understand. For the greatest challenge of Odysseus's life will not be Troy, not the battlefield, not the siege. It will be the journey home, a journey that transforms him from a clever king into a legendary wanderer. And throughout that long ordeal, Athena will remain his most faithful divine ally. The relationship continues evolving, no longer simply goddess and mortal, teacher and student. Something deeper emerges, mutual respect. Athena values Odysseus because he thinks. Odysseus values Athena because she understands. The connection becomes one of the richest relationships in all mythology. Yet even the strongest alliances cannot prevent every hardship. The ships are already gathering. The winds are already changing. The first threads of the Trojan War have already begun tightening. And somewhere beyond the horizon, fate is preparing trials neither Athena nor Odysseus can fully foresee. The sea waits patiently. The stars shine above. And the long road toward Troy has finally begun. The fires of Troy have burned low. Ash drifts through the evening air. Broken walls cast long shadows beneath a fading sky. The sounds of celebration have begun to fade, replaced by something quieter, something heavier. You stand beside Athena upon a distant hillside, overlooking the ruined city. For 10 long years, the war consumed kings' heroes and entire generations. Now it is over. Victory has finally arrived, yet Athena feels little joy. Wisdom has taught her something that many mortals learn only through suffering. The end of a war is not always the end of its consequences. Sometimes it is only the beginning. The wind carries the scent of smoke across the plain. Far below, warriors prepare for the voyage home. Many believe their hardships are finished. Athena knows otherwise, especially for one man, Odysseus. Among all the Greek leaders, he should be celebrating tonight. After all, his cleverness helped bring victory. His strategy created the famous wooden horse that allowed the Greeks to enter Troy. His patience helped sustain the siege through years of uncertainty. His intelligence proved decisive. Yet destiny has prepared another path for him, a far more difficult one, a path filled with storms, monsters, temptation, grief, and endurance. The path home. As darkness settles across the ruined city, Athena experiences a strange vision. She sees the sea stretching endlessly beneath moonlight. A single ship drifts across dark waters. Above it circles an owl. The bird never lands, never leaves. It simply watches. Then the sea begins changing. Calm water becomes storms. Storms become whirlpools. Whirlpools become darkness. The vision fades. Athena awakens from the trance, troubled. The meaning feels unmistakable. Odysseus's greatest trial has only just begun. The fleet departs Troy soon afterward. Hundreds of ships spread across the sea. White sails catch the wind. The coastline slowly disappears behind them. Home awaits, or so everyone hopes. For a brief time, the journey proceeds peacefully. The sea remains calm, the weather favorable, the future seems promising. Then fate intervenes. In some versions of the myth, Odysseus and his companions make choices that anger the gods. In others, old rivalries continue influencing events. Most notably, Poseidon becomes a powerful obstacle. The sea god has his reasons. Ancient traditions explain them differently, yet the outcome remains the same. The journey home becomes a nightmare. Athena watches helplessly at times, concerned, frustrated, determined. The relationship between Athena and Odysseus enters a new phase during these years. No longer is she merely guiding a young hero toward greatness. Now she is helping a weary survivor endure suffering. The distinction matters. Teaching courage is one thing. Sustaining hope is another. Odysseus needs both. One night his ship drifts beneath a sky crowded with stars. The sea is unusually calm. Most of his companions sleep. Only Odysseus remains awake. The years have changed him. Lines mark his face. His eyes carry fatigue. Yet they also carry wisdom, the kind earned through hardship. Athena appears beside him in disguise, not as a goddess, as an ordinary traveler. Their conversation is simple, quiet, the kind of exchange easily overlooked. She asks where he is going. He answers honestly, home. She asks why he continues. He pauses, then speaks, because those waiting for him matter, because giving up would betray them, because hope still exists. Athena smiles, not because the answer surprises her, because it confirms what she already believes. Odysseus has become stronger than even he realizes. Strength of character, strength of purpose, strength of endurance, the qualities she values most. The goddess departs before dawn. Odysseus never realizes who visited him, yet he feels encouraged. The encounter remains with him, another small thread in the bond they share. Years continue passing. The challenges multiply. Cyclopes, sirens, storms, shipwrecks, temptations, losses. The famous adventures fill countless retellings. Yet Athena focuses on something deeper, what these experiences reveal about Odysseus. Again and again he adapts. Again and again he learns. Again and again he refuses to surrender. Each trial strips away another layer of pride, another illusion of control. The clever king slowly becomes something else, a wiser man, a humbler man, a more complete human being. Athena admires the transformation because wisdom rarely emerges from comfort. It often grows through difficulty, like olive trees growing among rocky hillsides. The process is slow, yet enduring. One particularly lonely night, Athena stands upon Olympus staring toward the western sea. Clouds drift across the moon. The air feels cool. The world below appears peaceful. Yet she knows Odysseus suffers. The realization troubles her more than she expects. For the relationship between them has changed profoundly. What began as admiration has become loyalty, perhaps even affection. Not romantic affection, something quieter. The bond between mentor and student, between guide and traveler, between two minds that understand one another. The feeling creates both pride and sorrow, because even divine wisdom cannot remove every obstacle. Athena can advise, encourage, protect when possible, yet some lessons Odysseus must learn himself. The limitation frustrates her and teaches her something important. Responsibility does not equal control, a lesson she continues learning throughout her life. Meanwhile, back in Ithaca, another challenge unfolds. Odysseus's absence stretches from years into decades. His wife Penelope waits, faithfully, patiently. Many assume he will never return. Suitors gather, ambitions grow. The kingdom itself begins changing. Athena watches this situation closely. She sees the danger, the uncertainty, the approaching crisis, and she begins preparing, not for battle, for reunion, because deep within her heart she believes Odysseus will return. The conviction feels almost prophetic. One evening, another dream arrives. Athena sees an olive tree growing through the center of a house. Its roots sink deep into stone. Its branches stretch toward the sky. Around it, storms rage. Years pass. Seasons change. Yet the tree remains, unmoved, unbroken. When Athena awakens, she understands immediately. The tree represents endurance, the home waiting in Ithaca, the family refusing to abandon hope. The dream strengthens her resolve. The journey is not over. Not yet, but its direction has become clear. Odysseus moves steadily toward home, toward Penelope, toward Ithaca, toward the final chapters of his wandering, and Athena will be there, watching, guiding, waiting. For the clever king's greatest victory will not come through warfare, or strategy, or glory. It will come through returning home after everything has been lost. And somewhere beyond the horizon, beneath another moonlit sky, the first signs of that long-awaited return are already beginning to appear. The city burns, not brightly now, not with the fierce flames that first consumed its towers. The fires have settled into a dull red glow. Smoke drifts upward in long grey ribbons. The night sky above Troy is stained by ash and memory. You stand beside Athena overlooking the ruins. The wind carries the scent of charred wood and extinguished hopes. Below, warriors move among shattered streets. Some search for survivors, some gather spoils, some simply stare. For even victors struggle to understand the end of something that lasted 10 years. Athena gazes upon the city in silence. This was never the future she desired. The goddess values wisdom, learning, civilization. Cities represent those ideals. And now one of the greatest cities of the ancient world lies broken. Victory has arrived, yet it feels strangely hollow. The contradiction settles heavily upon her heart. For years, Athena supported the Greek cause. She advised leaders, inspired strategies, protected heroes. Most famously, she played a role in the plan that finally ended the conflict. The wooden horse, a masterpiece of deception, a triumph of intelligence over brute force. Exactly the kind of solution Athena often admired. Yet standing here now, she sees the consequences. The horse succeeded. The city fell. The suffering remains. Ancient storytellers often celebrated cleverness. Athena still does. But wisdom demands seeing the whole picture, not merely the moment of success. The aftermath matters too. The lesson grows increasingly important as she matures. One evening, shortly after Troy's destruction, Athena walks unseen through the ruined city. Moonlight filters through collapsed roofs. Broken statues lie scattered among the rubble. Temple columns cast long shadows across empty streets. The silence feels unnatural. Cities are meant to be alive, filled with voices, filled with movement, filled with dreams. This city no longer possesses those things. Athena pauses beside a shattered fountain. Once children played here, merchants gathered here, travelers rested here. Now only silence remains. The realization troubles her deeply. For perhaps the first time, she begins questioning the relationship between victory and wisdom. They are not always the same. The Greeks preserved several traditions reflecting this complexity. Some stories portray Athena as proud of Troy's fall. Others present a more reflective figure, a goddess aware of the cost, a goddess capable of regret. Modern readers continue debating which interpretation feels most convincing. Perhaps the answer lies somewhere between. Wisdom rarely produces simple emotions. It often produces complicated ones. Athena understands why Troy had to be defeated, yet she mourns what was lost. Both truths coexist. One night, while wandering among the ruins, she experiences a vision. The dream arrives suddenly, without warning. She stands within a magnificent city unlike any she has seen before. Its buildings shine beneath golden sunlight. Its streets overflow with life. Music fills the air. Laughter echoes through crowded marketplaces. Then the scene changes. The city disappears. Another rises. Then another. Then another. Each flourishes. Each falls. Thousands of years pass in moments. Civilizations emerge from dust, return to dust, again and again. The pattern continues endlessly. Finally, a voice speaks. Quiet, ancient. Doom is not the opposite of greatness. Athena awakens immediately. The words remain. Doom is not the opposite of greatness. The meaning slowly unfolds. Everything mortal eventually ends. Cities, kingdoms, empires, heroes. Even the most extraordinary achievements cannot escape time forever. Yet impermanence does not erase value. A flower remains beautiful despite blooming briefly. A city remains meaningful despite eventual decline. The lesson changes Athena. Before this point, she often focused on preservation, on preventing failure, on avoiding loss. Now she begins recognizing a deeper truth. Wisdom cannot stop every ending. It can help people create meaning despite endings. The realization feels profound, and strangely comforting. The years following Troy's fall bring additional challenges. Many Greek leaders struggle during their journeys home. Old rivalries continue causing trouble. New tragedies emerge. Athena helps where she can, yet she increasingly adopts a broader perspective. Individual victories matter. Individual defeats matter. But the larger story matters too. Humanity continues learning, growing, creating. The process endures beyond any single conflict. One afternoon, she visits Athens. The city bustles with activity. Craftsmen shape marble. Teachers instruct students. Ships arrive from distant shores. Life continues, as it always does. The contrast strikes her. While Troy lies silent, Athens thrives. Not because it escaped suffering, because people continued building, continued hoping, continued imagining a future. The resilience of mortals impresses Athena greatly, perhaps more than any battlefield ever could. This growing admiration influences her relationship with humanity. Increasingly, she sees mortals not as fragile creatures requiring protection, but as partners, participants in the ongoing work of civilization. Their potential remains extraordinary, even when circumstances are difficult, especially when circumstances are difficult. The lesson returns her thoughts to Odysseus, for no mortal embodies resilience more clearly. Years have passed since Troy's fall. His journey continues. His struggles continue, yet he endures. Athena finds herself thinking about him often, not because he needs constant help, because he represents something she values deeply. The ability to adapt without surrendering one's identity, the ability to learn without abandoning hope, the ability to remain human through suffering. These qualities make him exceptional, and Athena knows his greatest test still lies ahead. Returning home is one thing. Reclaiming a life after years of absence is another. The challenge will require more than courage, more than intelligence. It will require wisdom, the very quality Athena has spent her entire existence nurturing. As twilight settles over Athens, the goddess stands beside an olive tree planted generations earlier. Its trunk has grown thick and strong. Its roots run deep. The tree reminds her of everything she believes. Growth takes time. Endurance matters. Strength often appears quietly. The same principles apply to cities, to heroes, to life itself. The wind moves gently through the branches. Leaves shimmer silver beneath the evening sky. Athena closes her eyes, listening, reflecting. The lessons of Troy continue shaping her. The consequences continue unfolding. And somewhere far away another chapter waits. One that will challenge her understanding of wisdom even further. For the clever king she admires is approaching home at last. And the reunion awaiting him will reveal truths no battlefield ever could. The olive tree stands motionless in the evening air. Its roots grip the rocky earth beneath Athens. Its branches stretch toward a sky slowly filling with stars. Around it, the city settles into night. Market stalls close. Lanterns flicker to life. Families gather behind stone walls for evening meals. You stand beside Athena as she gazes across the city she helped shape. For a long time she says nothing. The silence feels natural, comfortable, the kind of silence that arrives after many years of reflection. Athena has lived through much already. She has watched cities rise, guided heroes, witnessed wars, made mistakes, learned difficult lessons. Yet something within her continues changing. The process is subtle, almost invisible, but wisdom itself is evolving. The younger Athena often searched for answers. The older Athena increasingly learns to live with questions. The distinction matters more than it first appears. For many years she believed knowledge could solve nearly every problem. Enough understanding, enough planning, enough foresight. Surely these would lead to the best outcomes. Life has complicated that belief, not destroyed it, deepened it. You see this clearly one autumn evening. A cool wind moves through the olive groves surrounding Athens. The scent of wood smoke drifts upward from the city below. Athena walks alone along a quiet hillside path. The stars appear unusually bright, perhaps because her thoughts are unusually heavy. Earlier that day, she observed two leaders arguing over the future of their people. Both cared deeply. Both believed they were acting wisely. Both possessed reasonable arguments. Yet only one path could be chosen. Athena found herself unable to identify a perfect solution. The realization troubled her. For even wisdom has limits. The lesson feels uncomfortable, yet important. As centuries pass, Athena encounters this truth repeatedly. A ruler must choose between security and freedom. A parent must balance protection and independence. A hero must decide between duty and personal happiness. Many decisions contain no flawless answer, only trade-offs, consequences, uncertainties. The burden of wisdom lies partly in recognizing this. Ancient Greeks understood the concept well. Some researchers believe Athena's enduring popularity stemmed from precisely this quality. She was not a goddess of easy answers. She was a goddess of thoughtful judgment. The difference remains profound. One night she experiences another vision, a particularly strange one. She stands within an enormous library. The building seems endless. Shelves stretch beyond sight. Thousands upon thousands of scrolls fill the darkness. Each contains knowledge, history, experience, understanding. Athena begins reading, one scroll after another. Yet the more she learns, the larger the library becomes. New shelves appear, new scrolls emerge, new mysteries reveal themselves. Finally, she reaches the center of the vast hall. There she discovers a single empty shelf. Above it hangs an inscription. The wisdom you seek belongs to tomorrow. The dream ends. Athena awakens beneath a sky still crowded with stars. The meaning arrives gradually. Knowledge expands endlessly. No matter how much one learns, more remains unknown. The realization might seem discouraging. Instead, Athena finds it liberating. Wisdom is not about possessing every answer. It is about remaining open to learning, remaining humble before complexity. The lessons soften something within her. The pride that once surfaced during the story of Arachne fades further. The certainty of youth gives way to deeper understanding. Not weaker understanding, stronger, more flexible, more compassionate. This evolution influences her relationships, especially with mortals. In earlier years, Athena sometimes expected too much from people. She valued discipline, preparation, self-control. Those qualities remain important. Yet she increasingly appreciates human limitations as well. Fear, confusion, grief, doubt. These experiences are not weaknesses. They are part of being human, and humanity, she realizes, possesses remarkable strength, precisely because it endures such burdens. One evening, she visits a small village far from Athens. The settlement is modest, simple homes, narrow paths, fields stretching toward distant hills. Nothing about the place seems extraordinary. A severe storm recently damaged crops. Several families face hardship. Yet as Athena watches, neighbors help one another. Food is shared. Repairs are organized. Children continue laughing despite uncertainty. The resilience moves her deeply. No prophecy guides these people. No hero's destiny surrounds them. Yet they display courage nonetheless. Athena begins recognizing something she once overlooked. Heroism exists in ordinary lives too. A parent caring for a child. A teacher guiding students. A farmer rebuilding after disaster. These acts may never become myths. Yet they matter enormously. The realization broadens her understanding of greatness. Not everyone needs to defeat monsters. Sometimes enduring hardship with dignity is enough. The insight becomes one of the most important lessons of her life. Meanwhile, thoughts of Odysseus return frequently. The long journey home continues, nearing its conclusion. Athena feels hopeful, yet cautious. Experience has taught her that endings often create new challenges. Returning home does not erase years of absence. Relationships change. People change. Expectations change. Wisdom means preparing for those realities, not pretending they do not exist. One evening, she walks through Athens disguised once again as a mortal woman. The city glows beneath hundreds of lanterns. Musicians perform in public squares. Philosophers debate beneath colonnades. Artisans complete their work by firelight. Athena listens carefully. The conversations reveal something remarkable. People discuss ideas, justice, leadership, beauty, knowledge. The city has become exactly what she once hoped. Not perfect, never perfect, but curious, thoughtful, alive. The realization fills her with quiet satisfaction. The contest with Poseidon feels very distant now, yet the olive tree remains. Its gift continues bearing fruit, both literally and symbolically. Athena smiles. One thoughtful choice made long ago continues shaping generations. The lesson comforts her. Not every consequence is painful. Some grow into blessings. As the night deepens, another omen appears. An owl lands upon a nearby rooftop. It remains perfectly still, watching the city, watching Athena. Then it takes flight toward the west, toward the sea, toward Ithaca. The sign feels meaningful. Athena follows its path with her eyes until it disappears into darkness. Something important is approaching. She can sense it. The long years of wandering are nearing their end. Odysseus will soon return home, and the reunion waiting there will teach Athena one final lesson about loyalty, endurance, and the power of human love. A lesson no amount of knowledge alone could ever provide. The owl disappears into the night. Only silence remains above Athens. A deep, living silence that settles between rooftops, olive groves, and marble streets. The city glows faintly beneath scattered torches, its shape carved into the hillside like something half-remembered from a dream. You stand beside Athena as she watches the horizon, not the city behind her, the world beyond it. Because something is changing, not suddenly, not loudly, but inevitably. Athena feels it the way sailors feel shifting winds long before storms appear. Cities rise, and cities endure, but they also change, and change always carries uncertainty. Athens, the city she once shaped through a simple gift of an olive tree, is no longer a small settlement of hopeful farmers and craftsmen. It has become something larger, something more complicated. A center of learning, trade, debate, ambition. The very qualities she once nurtured now grow beyond her ability to fully guide. And that realization brings a quiet tension. Wisdom does not remain static. It must adjust to what it creates. Athena walks through the city disguised as a traveler once more. The streets are different now, more structured, more crowded, more alive. Young philosophers argue beneath colonnades, questioning everything from justice to the nature of existence. Sculptors carve ideal forms into marble with increasing precision. Poets recite stories that spread far beyond the city's walls. Athens is becoming something new, a place defined not only by survival, but by thought. And Athena understands perhaps more clearly than anyone that thought is both creation and danger. Because ideas grow, and once they grow, they cannot be contained easily. That night she returns to the Acropolis. The wind is stronger than usual. It carries salt from the distant sea and dust from the hills beyond the city. She stands alone among ancient stones. The Parthenon has not yet been built in its final form in all traditions, but sacred spaces already exist here. Places of offering, places of memory, places where mortals reach towards something greater than themselves. Athena watches them carefully. Mortals pray here for protection, for wisdom, for guidance. And yet she increasingly understands something subtle. They do not always receive answers. Sometimes they receive challenges instead. Not because the gods are cruel, but because understanding grows through difficulty. This idea unsettles her more than she expects, because it raises a question she cannot easily dismiss. How much of wisdom is guidance, and how much is allowing others to struggle? The answer remains unclear, as it often does. That same uncertainty follows her into another vision. She stands at the edge of a vast plain. Below her, countless cities rise and fall like waves upon a shore. Some are brilliant, some are violent, some are forgotten almost immediately after their creation. Time flows strangely here. Entire civilizations pass in moments, yet something remains constant. Humanity continues building, even after destruction, even after loss, even after failure. The vision ends with a simple phrase spoken without voice. Guardians do not prevent all endings. They witness what endures after them. Athena awakens slowly. The message lingers. Guardians do not prevent all endings. The truth feels heavy, but also clarifying. She begins to understand her role differently now, not as one who controls outcomes, but as one who supports continuity, a protector of what matters most: knowledge, craft, civilization, memory. In Athens, this role becomes more visible over time. Temples dedicated to her grow in importance, not as places of fear, but places of learning and respect. Craftsmen invoke her before beginning their work. Students call upon her before study. Leaders seek her influence before difficult decisions. Yet Athena notices something important. Her presence is not always direct. Sometimes it is symbolic. Sometimes it is cultural. Sometimes it is simply the idea that wisdom matters. And that idea, once planted, spreads far beyond any single temple. One evening, she observes a group of young men discussing strategy in a courtyard. They are preparing for political debates. Not war, debate. The exchange of ideas has become a form of conflict in itself, but a different kind, one governed by reason rather than force. Athena listens. They reference logic, structure, argument. They attempt to persuade rather than dominate. She recognizes something new emerging, a society beginning to value thought as power, not just strength. The shift pleases her, yet it also brings responsibility, because societies built on ideas must constantly refine those ideas. Otherwise, they stagnate, and stagnation leads to decline. Nothing remains stable forever, not even wisdom, not even cities devoted to wisdom. Athena senses this truth more deeply as time passes. Athens grows stronger, but also more complex. Internal disagreements increase. Competing visions of leadership emerge. Some favor tradition, others favor innovation. Tension builds beneath the surface. She recognizes the pattern. It has appeared in every civilization she has observed. Growth brings friction. Friction brings change. Change brings uncertainty. One night, as she stands upon the Acropolis, a soft wind moves through the olive trees below. The leaves shimmer silver beneath moonlight. For a moment, she remembers the original tree that began it all. A simple gift, a single moment of choice, and yet it transformed everything that followed. Athena understands now that even divine actions do not end with their intention. They continue unfolding long after the moment has passed. That realization is both beautiful and unsettling. Far away, the sea shifts again. Ships come and go more frequently now. Trade expands, stories travel, and with them, rumors of a wandering king returning home. Odysseus, still alive, still moving toward Ithaca, still shaped by everything he has endured. Athena feels something close to relief, but also anticipation, because she knows that return is not completion. It is transformation, and transformation always brings questions no one is fully prepared to answer. She watches the horizon until the sky begins to lighten. Dawn approaches, another day begins, another cycle continues, and somewhere beyond the sea, the final thread of a long journey is drawing closer to its destination. A journey that will test not only a hero, but the very meaning of home itself. Night returns slowly to Athens, not abruptly, not as an ending, but as a soft descent like breath leaving a resting body. Lanterns flicker along narrow streets. Shadows stretch across stone courtyards. The olive groves surrounding the city sway gently beneath a cool wind drifting in from the sea. You stand beside Athena beneath the familiar branches of an ancient olive tree. The same tree. The original tree. Its trunk now thick with age carved by time itself into something almost eternal. Its leaves shimmer faintly in the moonlight. Athena touches the bark with quiet familiarity. There is no ceremony in the gesture, no ritual, only recognition. This tree has outlived generations, watched cities change, seen people rise and fall, and yet it remains, alive, enduring, like memory itself. Athena often returns here when thoughts grow heavy, not because she seeks answers, but because she remembers beginnings, and beginnings carry clarity that endings often lose. Tonight, however, something feels different. The wind carries a message, subtle, unspoken, yet unmistakable. Change is approaching again, not for Athens, not for Olympus, but for someone she has watched for a very long time. Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, has finally returned to his homeland. The journey that once seemed endless has reached its final shore. Athena senses it before any mortal messenger could arrive. Not through prophecy alone, through understanding. She knows what such a return truly means. Not celebration alone, not reunion alone, but reckoning, because time does not pause during absence. People change, places change, even love changes shape under distance and hardship. She watches the sea beyond Athens, imagining Ithaca, a small island surrounded by restless water, a home long waited for, a home that may no longer feel entirely like home. The owl appears again that night. It lands silently upon a nearby branch. Its eyes reflect the moonlight with unsettling calm. It does not move. It does not call. It simply watches Athena, then turns its head westward, toward the sea, toward Ithaca, toward a story reaching its final chapters. Athena understands the meaning immediately. The time has come. She does not rush. Wisdom rarely rushes. Instead, she prepares. Because Odysseus's return will not unfold simply, ancient traditions preserve many versions of what happens next. Some emphasize reunion, others emphasize conflict, others still suggest uncertainty even in success, but all agree on one point. The homecoming is not gentle, it is complex. Athena stands quietly as the wind moves through the olive branches above her. She remembers Odysseus as he once was, a young prince with sharp eyes, a mind always searching for patterns, a soul drawn toward cleverness rather than strength. And she remembers what he has become, a survivor, a wanderer, a man shaped by years that stripped away illusion after illusion until only truth remained. Not all truth is comforting, but it is necessary. The owl shifts slightly on its branch. Athena speaks softly, though no one else is present. You have carried him far enough. The owl does not respond. It never does. But it takes flight, moving westward across the night sky. Athena follows its path with her gaze until it disappears. Then she closes her eyes and listens. In her mind, she sees Ithaca again. Rocky shores, quiet hills, a palace filled with memory and tension, suitors occupying halls that were never meant for them, Penelope weaving patience itself into survival, Telemachus growing into adulthood in the absence of certainty, and Odysseus, standing at the threshold of everything he once lost. The reunion will not be simple, because nothing shaped by time ever is. Athena understands this better than anyone. She begins her journey across the sea, not as a force of intervention, but as a presence of balance, guidance when needed, silence when required, the role she has learned to embody over centuries. As she travels the world beneath her changes slowly, waves roll under moonlight, ships drift across distant waters, storms gather and dissolve without warning, and somewhere ahead Ithaca waits. The island appears in fragments first, rising from the horizon like a memory returning. Rocky coastlines, dark hills, a faint outline of a kingdom shaped by absence. Athena senses Odysseus before she sees him, standing near the shore, uncertain, changed, still intelligent, still observant, but carrying the weight of everything endured. She does not approach immediately. Instead, she watches from a distance, because some moments must unfold without divine interruption. Odysseus looks out across the sea, perhaps sensing something he cannot explain, perhaps simply remembering. The wind moves around him, the same wind that once carried him away, now carries him home. Athena observes quietly. The clever king has returned, but he is no longer only a king. He is something more complex now, a man who understands loss as deeply as victory. And Athena recognizes something profound in that transformation. Wisdom is no longer something she only teaches. It is something mortals can now embody on their own, even without her presence, even through suffering, especially through suffering. The olive tree in Athens feels distant now, yet its meaning remains. Growth, endurance, continuity. Athena understands that her influence is no longer confined to places or moments. It exists in ideas, in choices, in the way mortals think about their own lives. And as Ithaca slowly comes into full view beneath the rising dawn, she senses that one final chapter is about to begin. A chapter not defined by war, not defined by wandering, but by return. And what return truly means. The sea is no longer restless. It has grown still as if holding its breath. Ithaca rests beneath a pale morning sky. The island feels smaller than memory, yet heavier than myth. Rocky hills rise above quiet shores. Olive trees bend gently in the wind. The scent of salt and earth lingers in the air like something ancient returning home. You stand beside Athena on a distant ridge overlooking the island. She does not move. She is watching, always watching. Below, Odysseus walks slowly through familiar land. But nothing is truly familiar anymore. Time has reshaped everything. The palace stands yet feels different. The halls echo with absence. Even the stones seem to remember footsteps that no longer belong to the present. Athena understands this silence well. Return is never simply arrival. It is comparison between what was remembered and what remains. Odysseus moves carefully now, no longer the young king who left for Troy. His body carries exhaustion. His mind carries experience. His eyes carry a kind of quiet understanding that only long suffering can create. He is home, yet home has changed. And so has he. Athena watches without intervening. This moment belongs to him, to Penelope, to Telemachus, to time itself. Ancient traditions preserve many details of what follows. Some emphasize recognition, others emphasize disguise, others describe trials that test identity itself. The truth of myth often lies not in exact events, but in emotional truth. And emotionally, this moment is about restoration that must pass through doubt before it can become certainty. Odysseus must prove he is still himself, not just in name, but in essence. Athena recognizes this necessity. For wisdom is not only about guiding journeys, it is also about allowing truths to be tested. Inside the palace, tension has long been building. Suitors fill the halls. They consume wealth. They speak as though the kingdom already belongs to them. They treat memory as something fading. But memory does not fade easily. Not in Ithaca, not under Athena's watch. Penelope, meanwhile, has endured in a different way. Not through force, but through patience, through intelligence, through weaving time itself into resistance. Athena admires her, perhaps more than most mortals, because Penelope has learned something essential. Waiting is not absence of action. It is a form of strength, one of the most difficult kinds. As Odysseus moves closer to his palace, Athena observes the layers of recognition unfolding. The disguise, the hesitation, the testing of identity, the uncertainty that surrounds even the most certain truths after long absence. These are not merely narrative devices. They are reflections of human psychology. How do you recognize someone who has changed? How do you trust memory against time? How do you rebuild connection after distance reshapes everything? Athena sees all of it clearly. But she does not rush the outcome. Wisdom requires patience. Eventually, the truth emerges. Odysseus reveals himself, not through declaration alone, but through action, through memory, through the undeniable continuity of who he has always been beneath all change. The palace becomes still. The suitor's illusions collapse. The past returns to the present with sudden clarity. Ancient stories often emphasize the violence of what follows. But Athena does not focus on that alone. Her attention is elsewhere, on recognition, on restoration, on the fragile moment where identity is confirmed after being questioned for so long. Odysseus is no longer wandering. He is no longer searching. He is home. Yet Athena understands something deeper now. Home is not a place. It is a condition of understanding, a relationship between memory and belonging, and even that must be maintained, not preserved once, but tended continuously, like the olive tree in Athens. The symbol returns to her thoughts again. That tree has outlived generations, yet its survival is not passive. It depends on care, on environment, on continuity, just like civilization itself, just like wisdom, just like memory. Athena begins to understand why mortals remember her, not only as a goddess of war or strategy, but as something more enduring, a guardian of patterns that allow societies to continue existing across time. Knowledge, craft, justice, order, the invisible structures that hold fragile human lives together. Odysseus's return becomes more than a personal victory. It becomes a restoration of order after chaos. Yet even restoration carries cost. Nothing returns exactly as it was. Athena senses this truth in Penelope's eyes, in Odysseus's silence, in the subtle distance that remains even after reunion. Time does not undo itself. It reshapes relationships into something new. Athena understands this without judgment, only awareness. As the sun rises fully over Ithaca, she walks slowly along the ridge above the island. The owl appears once more, older now in presence than in form. It circles once above the landscape, then settles on a distant branch, watching the world below, watching endings become beginnings, watching memory become legacy. Athena speaks softly into the wind. They will remember him as a king who returned. She pauses, then continues, but I will remember him as a man who endured. The owl remains still. The sea glimmers beneath morning light, and for a long time nothing else is said, because some truths do not need explanation. They only need to be understood. Athena turns away from Ithaca slowly, not because the story is unimportant, but because it is complete. What remains is not the hero's journey, but its meaning. And meaning does not stay in one place. It spreads through stories, through memory, through time. Across generations, mortals will tell of Odysseus, of Athena, of wisdom guiding suffering, of endurance shaping identity. But what they will feel more than anything is this: that wisdom is not separate from human struggle. It is born within it and carried forward by it. As Athena fades into the light above the sea, the final image remains. An olive tree standing firm against time, an owl watching from darkness into dawn, and a mortal king standing at the threshold of home, finally understanding what it means to return, not as the same man who left, but as someone changed forever by the journey. The sky above Ithaca clears slowly, not like a curtain pulled away, but like something remembering how to breathe again. Clouds drift apart in soft layers. The sea reflects pale gold light. The island feels quieter now, as if even memory itself is settling after a long storm. You stand beside Athena, though the world around you begins to feel less physical, less immediate, more like reflection than place. Odysseus's story has reached its turning point. But Athena's story continues, because even for a goddess there is no true ending, only transformation. She no longer watches only individual lives. Her gaze has widened, across generations, across cities, across time itself. Athens grows beneath her influence, but not because she shapes every decision, rather because she has shaped the idea that decisions matter, that wisdom matters, that thought itself carries consequence. And that idea spreads far beyond temples or offerings. It enters language, article, teaching, governance. It becomes part of how people imagine a functioning world. Athena begins to understand something subtle but profound. She is no longer only a participant in myth. She has become part of cultural memory, a framework through which mortals interpret intelligence, strategy, and justice. Yet memory is not fixed. It shifts. It evolves. Different cities tell different versions of her deeds. Different poets emphasize different traits. Some remember her as a warrior, others as a counselor, others as a symbol of civilization itself. None are entirely wrong. None are entirely complete. Athena accepts this plurality without resistance. Wisdom, she realizes, cannot belong to a single definition. It must remain adaptable, just like the mortals who invoke it. One evening, she stands alone upon the Acropolis. The marble beneath her feet is warm from the day's sun. Below, Athens glows with torchlight. The city is no longer young. It is becoming something enduring, structured, confident, complex. She senses within it both greatness and fragility. All civilizations carry both. Athena understands now that her role is not to perfect them, only to guide their awareness, to keep the idea of wisdom alive within them. Far away, Ithaca fades from her thoughts slowly. Odysseus's journey has ended, but the consequences of his journey continue unfolding. Penelope's patience becomes legend. Telemachus grows into leadership. The palace returns to order, though never to its original form. Nothing returns unchanged. Athena understands this more deeply now than ever before. Change is not failure. It is continuity in motion. The owl appears again that night, older, quieter. It lands beside her without sound. Its gaze is steady, unblinking. Athena does not speak immediately. Instead, she listens, not for words, for understanding. After a long silence, she finally says, "They will not remember everything correctly." A pause, then softer, "But they will remember what matters." The owl tilts its head slightly, as if acknowledging a truth it has always known. Athena looks towards the horizon, beyond Athens, beyond Greece, beyond the limits of her own myths. Civilizations rise in places she has not yet touched. New cultures will interpret wisdom in ways she cannot yet imagine. Some will honor her, some will reinterpret her, some will forget her name entirely, while preserving her essence in new forms. This too is part of legacy, not permanence, but transformation through memory. She begins to understand something that even immortals rarely grasp fully. To endure is not to remain unchanged. It is to be carried forward through change. Athena steps slowly through the Acropolis. Stone paths echo faintly beneath her feet. Every structure around her contains traces of human effort, of belief, of intention, of hope made material. She touches a column gently and feels something like connection, not to one moment, but to countless moments layered together. She thinks of Perseus, of Arachne, of Odysseus, of countless unnamed mortals she has guided without recognition. Each life a thread, each decision part of a larger pattern. None isolated, all connected, and yet none fully controlled. That is the nature of wisdom, not domination, but participation. As dawn approaches, Athena stands once more at the edge of the city. The first light of morning spreads across the horizon. Soft, patient, unstoppable, she realizes that her existence is no longer defined by single acts or myths, but by continuity, by the way ideas move through time, by the way meaning survives even when details fade. The owl takes flight again, circling once above Athens, then disappearing into the brightness of the rising sun. Athena watches it go, and for the first time she does not follow, because there is nowhere left to follow. Only forward, only onward, only the unfolding of what has already begun. She speaks quietly into the light. Wisdom is not what is known. A pause. Then, it is what remains when everything else changes. The wind moves through the olive trees below. Leaves shimmer softly. The city awakens, and Athena, standing between memory and future, becomes less a figure of myth and more a presence within time itself. Not fixed, not finished, but enduring, always becoming. The night does not fully leave. It lingers at the edges of dawn, clinging to rooftops, olive branches, and the highest stones of the Acropolis. You stand beside Athena in that thin space between darkness and light. The world feels quiet in a way that is almost sacred, not empty, not still, but complete, as if every story that has unfolded is breathing gently at once. Athena says nothing for a long time. Her gaze rests over Athens, the city that once received a single olive tree, now vast, layered, alive with memory, argument, craft, and thought. A place where wisdom is no longer only divine, but human as well. She has watched empires rise and fall, heroes struggle through impossible journeys, mortals create meaning from suffering and sometimes lose it again. She has guided, intervened, withdrawn, learned when to act and when to remain silent. And now something softer settles within her presence. Not exhaustion, not conclusion, recognition. Because Athena finally understands what her story has become. Not a sequence of victories, not a list of myths, not even a record of divine actions among mortals, but something far more fragile and far more enduring. A thread of wisdom carried through time. She steps slowly toward the edge of the stone platform. Below, Athens begins to stir. Smoke rises from early hearth fires. Market voices begin to form in distant streets. A new day is starting, one of countless days that will follow. Each one slightly different, each one shaped by decisions already made. Athena watches it all without urgency, because she no longer feels the need to shape everything. She understands now that influence does not require constant presence. It survives through memory, through teaching, through imitation, through the quiet choices mortals make when no one is watching. The owl appears one last time. Not dramatic, not divine in any visible sense, just present. It lands on the edge of a broken column nearby. Its feathers catch the first light of dawn. It does not call. It does not move. It simply watches her. Athena meets its gaze, and in that silence, something passes between them. Not instruction, not prophecy, understanding. She speaks gently almost to herself. I thought wisdom was something I carried. A pause. The wind moves through the olive trees below. And perhaps it was. Another pause. But it was never only mine. The owl blinks once, slowly, as if agreeing with something that has always been true. Athena turns her gaze toward the horizon. Beyond Athens, beyond Greece, beyond even the stories that will one day carry her name across centuries. She sees something larger now. Not events, not battles, not even myths, but continuity. The way thought travels from person to person. The way ideas outlive the hands that first shaped them. The way meaning survives even when names fade. Odysseus becomes memory. Perseus becomes story. Arachne becomes symbol. Athens becomes idea. And Athena herself becomes something more than form. She becomes a way of seeing, a way of thinking, a way of understanding the world through balance, consequence, patience, and insight. The wind grows warmer. Dawn breaks fully now. Light spreads across marble olive groves and distant sea. The owl lifts into the air once more. It circles above the city only once, then disappears into brightness, not vanishing, but becoming indistinct within the light. Athena watches it go, and for the first time, she does not follow even in thought, because there is nothing left to chase, only what continues. She speaks softly into the morning air, not as command, not as myth, but as reflection. Wisdom is not the moment of understanding, a breath. It is everything that survives after understanding has changed you. The city below fully awakens. Voices rise, steps echo, life continues without pause. And Athena remains at the edge of the Acropolis, neither above it nor separate from it, but quietly present within its unfolding. She is no longer only the goddess who emerged from a thunderclap, not only the strategist of war, not only the protector of cities, not only the guide of heroes. She is something quieter now, something deeper, the presence of thought within existence itself, the reminder that every choice carries consequence, and every consequence becomes part of memory, and every memory becomes part of what endures. As the sun climbs higher, Athena fades not from existence, but from immediacy, becoming less visible, less spoken, more felt than seen, yet never gone, because wisdom once born into the world does not leave it. It spreads, it transforms, it continues, and seems somewhere in the quiet moments of mortal decision, in the pause before action, in the thought before speech, she is still there, not watching, not ruling, but remembered through understanding. The last light of dawn rests across Athens, and then slowly everything continues.